myself.
Oh, perfect. Hello, everyone. Okay, I think we're live. Yes, we are live. Awesome. All my little things are done, and I don't have the title updated. Shit, hang on. I'll fix that later. So, I have two friends with me today. Thank you for joining us for the IBM stream, IBM developer stream. I got, let's say, Jay. How about you say hi?
Hey everyone, my name is Jason Nobis. I'm a developer advocate at Red Hat, primarily focused on OpenShift.
Awesome. And we have someone new today. Who are you?
Hi everyone, my name is Cedric Clyburn. I'm a developer advocate intern working with Jay up here, and really excited for the next couple hours messing around, seeing what we can do.
Nice, nice. And hi everyone. I realized I did not actually introduce myself. My name is JJ. I'm a developer advocate for the IBM Cloud, and we are here to play around with some OpenShift. Let me actually update the title real fast to make sure that it's accurate. Playing with OpenShift and CodeReady Workspaces. Hey Chris, how are you, sir? We still spend some time together on a call eventually, just saying. So yes, we are going today. So we've been playing with OpenShift across the board over the last handful of weeks. We've done things ranging from just very basic work to pretty advanced stuff. This week we've decided, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we realized that this was a perfect opportunity with us to play with something called CodeReady Workspaces. I have not touched it at all out of purpose because I want to start from the very ground up. I have a OpenShift cluster that has fuck all on it, and we are going to install it. I have a org that we can attach GitHub to if we wanted to try to do the login through that way, trying to figure that out. And then maybe we can put some code on there. Maybe have three of us just kind of throw some stuff at it to see if it works. Does it seem like a reasonable stream?
I mean, that's totally my goal. So I also have not played a ton with it. It was months ago that I installed it and got basic runtime going. So I'm equally kind of going into this kind of, I mean, 2 weeks ago, Natalia was on here for an hour with us showing us about it, but that kind of stuff doesn't register with me until I do it myself. So everything he said was amazing, made sense at the time. And then 40 seconds later, I'm like, what did he say?
Computer?
Yeah, computers, typing words. And I can do a quick overview of what Workspaces is in a second. I actually know what it is, at least. Okay. But what my goal out of this is, I'm treating this as I would take a Friday afternoon, sit down and be like, all right, I've got 3 hours, I have coffee, I'm settled in, I'm going to dork around with what Workspace is and just kind of see how it works. The best part about doing this live on stream is I'm more interested in what the collaborative model looks like. So it's one thing for me to sit at this IDE and say, okay, I can write some Python code and set up a basic REST API. What I'm super intrigued to see is how in this world it works with the three of us. And maybe it's as simple as we each get our own workspaces and the collaboration is through Git like any other workflow. But I'm curious if we come to some kind of shared model or what it looks like. I have no idea how interesting it's going to, like I said, it could be as simple as it falls to Git like collaboration always does, life goes on. But I'm curious what of this we can share and if it makes sense to share environments. I mean, I know for myself, and I suspect JJ is very similar, that we've got our own ways with our IDEs and we're comfortable with what we know. And, I'm super particular about that. Like IntelliJ works extremely well for me. Python works extremely well for me. VS Code, I can use, but I'm always like, the keystrokes just don't quite muscle memory up for me. So I'm like, shit, I just deleted something by accident. So I have and then I like my terminal, and that's my workflow is one monitor IDE, one monitor terminal with anybody who's been on the stream before has seen my TMUX setup and how kind of, I'm like, yeah, like 17 panes, bam, bam. And that's what I'm comfortable with. So I'm curious to be like, okay, you're going to shove me in a browser and I see, so let me talk about it. Let me tangent this into talking about it. So CodeReady as a branding thing has actually existed for a while, I believe. And what happened was we weren't really using the name CodeReady. So we started reusing it for a variety of OpenShift spin-off topics. I don't know that they're necessarily related into anything. Like, I don't think from a sales perspective or anything like that, you're like, okay, I'm buying CodeReady. I don't think you're calling this a CodeReady suite per se, but it is this somewhat unified branding across OpenShift-y things. So there's CodeReady containers, which we've talked about in the stream before, and that is a way of running your traditional 6-node OpenShift cluster as a single VM on, we always say your laptop, but if you try to run that on a laptop, there's a good chance you're going to start a small fire. So I'm just going to say
I want to jump in there real quick because I have actually, we've had some, I'm going to put you on the spot because I have an opportunity to, and I'm going to do it live. So yes, we've had some people internally trying to play with CodeReady containers. And they're like, JJ, my MacBook was about to like take off. Like this is really bad. What, like, I've actually told them, I know some people who work in the actual space, they have a dedicated box for CodeReady containers. Is that really the best answer we have right now?
Sadly, yes. So let's pivot on this for a second because it does warrant mentioning. So the idea, and we say it as laptop, it's meant as a parallel to something like Minikube, where I type Minikube start and a couple seconds later, ta-da, Kubernetes. I hack away on it, and I'm so destructive with those where if I make a typo, I'm like, well, I might as well just destroy the Minikube instance and start over because it's like 20 seconds to start up. The problem comes down to OpenShift is bigger than Kubernetes. So we have a lot of other things going on that keep the footprint from being quite as, not nearly as small as Minikube. So resources required, startup time, things like that all jack up out of necessity for the fact that it is a bigger project than Kubernetes. Like that is objective, that is easy to understand, that is super intentional. So I'm waiting to see Chris's commentary on how my comments in these CodeReady containers goes. The other side of it is it's a bit of a, I shouldn't say afterthought because that has negative connotations, but it has been only a more recent priority. So we go from your base install of OpenShift is 6 nodes these days, 3 masters for HA and then 3 worker nodes. How do you jam all of that into a VM with all of its complex networking and things like that? And you cut corners. And some of those corners were not cut amazingly well. Some of them were cut a tad bit hacky. So the footprint is large. And it's in theory, you can run it on your laptop. I personally never would. Now, there is still a benefit though. So I have a machine in my basement. It's a 32 gig, 8 core that I've thrown 6 cores and 24 gigs at my CodeReady containers installation. And it runs very, very well. Most importantly, it doesn't charge me for 6 nodes a minute in AWS. And yes, I see you highlighting all your fancy Neutron. And look, I worked on OpenStack too. I mean, there was a point, okay, another side story. So I think it was getting OpenShift running on top of OpenStack. And like one of the first issues we ran into was we have the OpenShift network overlay, which was sitting on top of the Neutron network overlay. And it didn't take, like there was literally no one in the room going, yeah, that works. That makes a lot of sense. Let's just how many levels of redirection through our network are we going to have? So we had to consolidate that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I've seen some stupid shit before in the industry. Like I've seen projects shipped where, God, this is again demeaning to a Red Hat product, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I worked on Red Hat Satellite. Red Hat Satellite was made up of 3 child applications, very similar to how OpenStack is made up of 7,300 child projects. And
7,002.
And two, that's right. One of them did just pass incubation, so it is up to 2. God, I love the stream. I missed this last week. A satellite, and then it based on top of a project called Foreman, which was written in Ruby, a project called Candlepin, which was written in Java, and then my project, which Pulp, which was written in Python, because we all just kind of independently did our own thing. Now, these are all installed as one product. So right there, you're looking at 3 runtimes. On top of that, we use 2 separate databases, Postgres, I want to say, or some sort of SQL deviant and variation, and Mongo. And I'm pretty sure there were 2 separate message buses used. Point being, we were all like, that's kind of fat, kind of shitty, but it happens. No one was trying to justify network overlay on top of a network overlay. Like, that was universally like, yeah, we can't do that. We can't even fake that. So that should take a neutron off of my screen. That's CodeReady containers. I'm watching, yeah, so Chris has a much cleaner answer than me. It's not trivial. That's ultimately what it comes down to. So it is still continually being worked on. No one is happy with, and I'm sure this was your answer to them too as well, JJ, but no one is happy with the current footprint, and it is in progress of cleaning up. I will say that I'm happy with where it is given my situation, that I have these 2 boxes in the basement, and I'm able to just take one and be like, take the whole damn box. Like, if I could have done a bare metal install on it, I just straight would have done that.
Yeah.
But in terms of running it on a laptop, like, again, developer advocate, I'm going to conferences, when there's not a flipping pandemic. I would never try to run CRC on my laptop and then demo off of that laptop. I feel like that's just a recipe for disaster.
I've told some of the teammates also, because obviously dedicating a whole machine to CodeReady containers sometimes isn't also an option. The multi-tenancy of OpenShift has allowed us to spin up a cluster or 2 on our IBM cloud, which is one of the reasons, which is one of the ones we use right here for today, which is on the IBM cloud here, which I allow other people to share, so they can still at least play with it and understand it. To your point, something else we learned on the stream, which is projects are just, when you're iterating, projects are disposable. They are branches. You can just create a new project. It's not a big deal. And that is a huge jump for a lot of people when they're just coming from the Kubernetes namespace idea to the idea that a project is like a branch, for lack of a better term.
Interesting. I like that as an analogy. I've never said it in those words, but I certainly described it that way, and I kind of dig that. And yeah, to your point, and this is great. One of the reasons why I had Cedric tag along, in addition to getting his young, inexperienced, but even that sounds negative, perspective on things. Let's go with young, because that just makes me feel old. The other benefit, though, is that a lot of these kind of conversations I'm having with him, I can just turn these into little lessons. So what JJ's describing is ultimately how OpenShift is ideally used. I mean, at the end of the day, CodeReady containers is meant to fill a particular need, a smallish need. And if you have a cluster, you should be having, as a developer, your own namespace, your own quotas, and then your own area that you can work in on somebody's larger cluster. We just don't have access to that because not all of us have this fancy IBM cloud sitting behind us. We're just like, I'm gonna set up this big fat cluster and give everyone permissions off of that. And yeah, Chris, I am spectacularly get off my lawn. That's why I think this Workspaces, which we're gonna get to in a second, and this is, Cedric, this is how every stream starts. We have this intention, and we're like, today we're gonna talk about, and then 20 minutes of just bullshit before that.
It's a good background. It's a good background.
I'm on level 10, by the way, if you're curious.
I just got to 7. And this is how it started the other day. So you know what? Bring it back up. We're going to tangent to that. So
awesome.
I'm curious, and I'm not going to put you on the spot to answer this, Cedric, but I don't know how much you know about how many you've seen of the holy wars within the computing industry. Things like, do your curly braces go on the same line or on the next line?
It's in tabs and indentions
and tabs and spaces. Perfect. God. Yeah. Chris, the level if you're asking what we're talking about, this is actually perfect. So I'm going to describe it in a second. One of the other bigger ones that has been around since even before my time, which actually makes me feel quite happy and young, is VI versus Emacs. I'm going to without making any major assumptions, they're both very lightweight text editors that have very powerful syntaxes and then a shit ton of plugin ecosystem that some people will turn into full-blown IDEs with a variety of plugins. VI in particular, if you've never had to use it, is notorious for being not intuitive to start. So for instance, a running joke, and you've actually seen it in my slides because I put it on my bio. JJ, I got to show you my bio slide. You're going to love this. One of my weaknesses as exiting Vim or exiting VI, because just knowing how to exit is a trick in and of itself. So JJ was an Emacs guy. I'm going to say still is an Emacs guy. I am more of a VI guy. I was an Emacs guy back in the day. I'm more of a VI guy. I will happily take IntelliJ or VS Code over both of them, to be perfectly honest. But he noticed over the course of our 2 months of streaming now that every time I had to pull up something in a terminal, I just use VI. And then, some very playful joking around, again, this is a typical holy war that people will get extremely adamant about. Brian Tennis on our team had mentioned Vam Adventures. So it's this website that you can see right now on the screen. And it's a subscription thing, but you get like a 6-month subscription for like the initial buy-in. And it's a game, and much more of a game than I realized, that teaches you VI in the process. Now, the first level, it looks like, oh, okay, they teach you that you use HJKL to move up, down, left, right. And I thought the whole game was just going to be, they teach you something, they have you use it, you go on to the next level. I've gotten to the point now, like I said, around level 5 or 6, where it starts to get brutal. Like it starts to get like straight up challenging, where they have timed events. So you have to navigate a paragraph. And if you just use left and right, you're not going to make it in time. So you have to understand the keys for skipping words and going to the end of words, the beginning of words. At the top right of the screen, you'll see 7 key presses to go. This is the style of puzzle I'm hitting now, where you have to accomplish the changes shown on the screen in a certain number of key presses. And you have to, it's not just knowing how to use VI at that point. Now it's then really thinking through what is the most optimal way that you probably wouldn't do in real life. Like, it's probably faster to not stop and think about the steps JJ's going through right now to hit those exact keys in that exact order. But it ends up being kind of fascinating from a puzzle solving perspective, being like, how do I use the Vim commands that are like skip word and replace and things like that. All of this came up, and I love that he had it open because it doesn't surprise me. Our tangent a couple of weeks ago was we mentioned it, and then we bought into it, and then JJ pulls it up. He's like, before we start anything, he's like, level 7. He's like, can't do it. It's driving me nuts. And then Brian, that son of a bitch, had this smug look on his face because he remembered the trick to it, and he was like slowly piecing way through it. Yep. And to Chris, like, it's funny because I'm very keyboard focused myself. Like I have my key mappings. I know them in IntelliJ with very subtle modifications. I'd rather not have to use a mouse. VI still to me feels wonky. The idea that I have to hit escape to type something just does not make sense to me. But yeah, this was our tangent a couple of weeks ago, which is why JJ had brought that up. Note, however, that I don't even have a clock near me, but we have not yet mentioned or talked about what CodeReady Workspaces is. And we're totally—
That is true. That is true. Just one last little poke about it. So Vim Adventures is the game to teach you. The natural progression is something called Vim Golf, where it's basically a consistent puzzle, where you do that same kind of movement and you train your mind into thinking that blocks of code or blocks of words or paragraphs, and you start seeing that you work at the moment, your fingers start training to the point where you think about it, and it becomes muscle memory. And they say edit code at the speed of thought is the whole joke about Vim. And believe it or not, you start seeing it. You're like, oh, I need to take this block of code and move it over here. And it's like riding a bike. Like I need to ride my bike down the street. You're not thinking about pedaling. You're just pedaling, right? With Vim, eventually you get to the point with your fingers that you're just moving that block of code around. Or, you're changing all the words that you need to here. And it just happens really, really fast. So it's a whole world. It's a fun world. And it's only getting better.
It is. And the thing is, you got to be aware, Cedric, of people who argue like the proponents of VI are like, well, VI is everywhere. And while that's true, all of your plugins are not. So it does kind of fall apart real fast. Like it's good to know how to navigate it, because one of the things early in my career, the first time I started to appreciate geography in computing was when we first started working with AWS, and I had to log into a machine in Singapore. So I was comfortable with SSH by that point. Right, forgot to warn you about that. We have sound effects. God, I missed this. I had to log into a machine in Singapore, and there was a noticeable delay in typing just on SSH. And that was the first time I realized, like, okay, there's a reason why terminal-based stuff is still a thing. I had a teacher. So I've told both of you this. So I teach at Villanova, and it's an older department. And I was telling one of the teachers how I was kind of annoyed that a lot of my students didn't even know how to basically use a terminal. And she's like, well, the terminal is pretty antiquated. And I'm like, so is tenure, really? Like, that was my takeaway from that.
That's good. That's a good burn.
Yeah, that was my. I was like, because clearly it was saying something. So and the VI is anywhere. So I logged into this machine in Singapore, and able to navigate VI enough to get through it. But you obviously can't remote share UIs from there. And to Chris's point, yeah, I'm not the biggest VI user, but I took one look at the Macs with the touch bar, and I'm like, no. And I have never had one. My last Mac was before they did that. And I hear they've taken it back out. But I was in the Apple store for some reason, and while the guy was working with me was doing something, I was just on a laptop. So I'm like, all right, I just opened up. I don't even think I tried VI, but I was like, let me just see what typing would be like. And I'm typing, and I had that muscle memory of trying to hit escape, and I hit everything. I hit the table, a whole lot of like
screenshot too.
Back to it's cool. The concept is cool as long as you're not using it for development, and particularly as long as you're not a VI user. Then the touch bar thing is kind of neat that they change, but again, for me personally, I don't want to look down. So having my keyboard look different to me does nothing for me, because that's looking down that I don't want to be doing. I learned how to touch type accidentally over the course of the years, and if I'm looking down, something's gone. I'm either thinking, in which case I'm not focusing anyway, or something has gone horribly wrong.
Well, as an intern, that's the laptop I was shipped, unfortunately.
So you don't have the escape key?
I have an escape key, but everything else, every FN key is just a touch bar, and I can't get used to it. It's asking me if I want Siri, and I'm trying to like develop, and it's really not good. But one more thing from like an academic perspective, like so coming into the computer science department at my university, so that's NC State University, and we're a good engineering school. And so we all start out using Notepad++ or TextEdit, or like, the most basic programs. Then we get up into like Eclipse, and then VS Code. And then what you see like around junior or senior year is everyone just starts going back to terminal-based editors like VI or Emacs. And so there's a shift. You start out using like a full visual, Git's included in the development of the IDE and everything. And then they shift over to, what I consider is like, older development IDE.
Which it is. Honestly,
it is, but it's powerful.
That too. I'm shocked as hell to hear that college students are embracing. I'm super happy to hear it. It makes me feel a little less old. Like JJ's got that face too. We're both like, we're not dinosaurs.
Yes,
Look at these smiles.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yes, we still have skills. That's super interesting to hear. And yeah, I just saw a tweet recently talking about how like 50% of development is still done on like Windows boxes, and it was like, yeah. Really? I can't even remember the context of it, but I would not have thought that was the case in the slightest.
And like Windows containers are just a thing, right? There are people who are running in production. Sure, that's cool. I still have never done it myself, and I'm assuming .NET is still really important for a lot of business cases. But I know for a fact there's a lot more Java out there, right? Like
Sorry,
I mean, are you doing Java on
your
Windows?
Your development environment is on Windows. Yeah. So you're still writing Java. You're still probably writing Linux-based containers, but people are still using Windows as like their machine to write code on, and that is a distant third for me. Like just the lack of flexibility and things like that. But it's been kind of fascinating, and I know internally we're intrigued to have more people play around with OpenShift on Windows and stuff like that. Like this box behind me at my gaming machine has Windows, and I just haven't had the cycles yet to like, okay, I'm gonna record a quick video of me poking around on Windows and then quickly run away from it again.
Well, I only use Windows for one thing. It's OBS.
Okay.
Right? That is literally, I have a laptop, a ThinkPad right here. Like if you can't actually see my hand, hold it out.
Just touch screen, yeah.
Yeah, and all it does is it has OBS on it, and it has the Stream Deck software on it, And when I'm not using it, the monitor that I'm staring at watching you talk has TweetDeck flipping by. That's
Okay.
It's a complete waste of a machine. Totally know this, but I know the fucker works, so I don't bother with it.
Believe me, I am not one to judge a wasted machine, so I'll get back to that in a second. Burr Sutter, so another developer advocate group inside of Red Hat. I was working with him on these master courses 2 weeks ago, and he was saying the exact same thing. He's got a Windows box purely because OBS seems to work better for him on it. I had no issue when I streamed from the machine that I'm on right now. This is a desktop, like a home-built desktop. OBS ran fine on it, and I had Minikube running fine on it. And then again, my CodeReady containers is a separate box in the base because that would just eat up all memory. And I had to close Chrome and stuff like that. But I've had reasonably okay luck with OBX on Linux, but I've totally heard that before of using as a Windows box. In terms of waste of hardware, though, I will have to send you a picture of my setup at some point, because off to this side, I have my laptop on like a Mac on a ARM, and then a separate monitor that is almost exclusively used for Netflix when I want to watch movies in the background, because I'm sometimes a movie background kind of guy, or when I don't, God, I'm going to take my nerddom to a whole new level. I've always appreciated like ASCII art and stuff like that.
Okay.
I was recently poking around. Actually, it was just last weekend. You've heard of Conway's Game of Life, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
knew you would have had. So I was like, I've always wanted to just do my own kind of, felt like almost like a pilgrimage type of thing. So I wrote it in Python using curses. And then I have that running on that monitor when I'm listening to music, because just watching the dots just flicker in and out as like this kind of, it's almost like a live wallpaper type of thing. Except ASCII and Game of Life, and it makes me stupidly happy. It's just oddly relaxing because I'm that type of weird nerd.
So it's very appropriate you mention that, because one of these days when no one actually joins me when I'm streaming, I'm planning on doing, where is it? Give me 2 seconds. Come on, I'm making it, there we go. I'm planning on actually doing this, which is the Go version of exactly what you're talking about, where I was just going to walk through the process in the stream of me learning how to do it inside using Go, because I've been told I need to learn more Go. So basically, anytime I have anything I need to do, I'm doing it in Go. But I still am saving this one specifically for that stream. That's really funny.
Ping me when you're doing that, because I want to watch it. If not, and I'll at least comment in chat, because I need to refresh myself on Go, because I do it and I'm like, I hate this. And then I stopped doing it. But it's funny because years and years ago, and we're talking 10 plus years ago, I went on this kind of language playing around where I wrote IRC bots. And like, there's no real need for them, but I was like, I wanted something consistent to see what it was like doing IRC bots in, so I did Java, I did Python when I was first learning Python, and then I did Clojure, which is a Java-based Lisp dev dialect. And I got it working. I probably couldn't even read my own code right now. But I was just like, IRC bots, like, I know I needed one for a project I was doing. So I did that one in the Python. And I was like, let me just experiment. Now, after this last play around, this is my new kind of benchmark for, all right, I want to learn a new language, implementing, it's going to teach you arrays. It's going to teach you, basic language syntax. And in the case of Go, you're going to have it in the Go path, and you're going to have everything set up correctly. But I was thinking the same thing, that this was going to be my kind of benchmark for like, all right, I need to refresh my Ruby because it's been 5+ years since I've done that. Let me just quickly throw that down in Ruby and see what it looks like. Nice. And then to start to play around with Moffy Man. I'm so glad you're not actually in the video anymore, if you're going to see him talking about Go for like the rest of it. We're quite glad you logged out. I just, my problem is, and now actually Rust is the new one that I started looking at today. And I'm like, I really want to play with Rust some more, because
I have the book. It's holding on my laptop right now.
like the Rust book. Like,
yeah, the press one, the Rust, the language, the no starch press one.
Yeah, I figured what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then I have on top, below or above that one is the Emacs Lisp one, and they're holding up my laptop. Right. Awesome. So that shows how much I care about reading them right now.
Oh, I know. I'm the same way. I have a React book that is somewhere in like the coffee table in my living room, because I was like reading it and then I left it out because I meant to go back, and my wife got annoyed and just like put it away, and I forgot to go back. But yeah, so Rust is my new thing I'm curious to try about. But Go, so before Mafi completely yells at me, there's just there's a lot I like about it, and then there's a couple of absolutely just baffling decisions that hit me, and I'm like, God, this is so stupid. Why am I doing this?
Like what?
The imports, I don't like that the import notation is tied to your version control system. So the way they have you structure your code and your imports, that you literally import github.com/jdob/project/whatever. And I thought that was stupid to begin with, that we would couple things like that in 2018 when I started looking into it. Ironically enough, then Microsoft bought GitHub, and then a whole bunch of Go projects were like, well, we're too good to be on a platform owned by Microsoft, so we're going to move off of that. Oh shit, all of our imports move if we leave GitHub. And I was like, yeah, why did nobody see this coming? I don't like the error handling. And what's really interesting about that, and what made me think of Rust, is that Rust is very similar. So there's no try-catch blocks in Go or anything like that. Your error is a returned value, which I don't particularly like in Go, but the way it's handled in Rust just feels cleaner. That out of everything, you get one return and one error, and that's it. And there are different ways of bundling them and things like that. See, I know, Mafi, I know that's the rationale. I personally don't agree with that an error is a value. But again, it feels better in Rust, because in Go, it's like you have to remember to add it as a possible return type. So to me, it's a half step. You either fully commit and you require every method return an error, and that's how you're going to return them, and that's fine. Or you make it this try-throw type of mechanism where it can be returned from every method. But in Go, you have to explicitly say this can throw an error. That just feels, or this can return errors, feels wonky to me. Rust, it's built in. Every return can also package an error with it. So that was another one of my Go side effects. But let me know when you're doing that Go game of life, because I'm dying to see you play with it.
Yeah, I'll be very embarrassed very quickly, because I'm really good at, I'm a sysadmin. I'm not a developer. I'm really good at gluing shit together. So anyway.
I mean, that's what a lot of development is these days. So all of this brings us back to CodeReady Workspaces.
Yes.
And Cedric, now you can tell why I was just like, should I look into something before the stream? I was like, no, we're going to go all over the friggin' place. So a half an hour in, let's get to today's topic. So the tangent kind of started on talking what CodeReady was, and I talked about CodeReady containers. CodeReady Workspaces is an IDE, a browser-based IDE that runs inside of your cluster. So once we get it deployed, we're going to see a pod running for Workspaces. And what's cool, and from what I remember the times I have played with it, you have your application, and when you run it, it's just going to start up another container, because it's cluster native. So it's one of those situations where you actually see a cloud or a container cluster native application doing its thing, instead of a legacy app that's kind of hacked to work with it. The other case of this I knew of was NuoDB, where out of all of the database vendors, they were the first ones, in my opinion, who really understood, okay, this is how we leverage containers instead of just taking our existing database and dropping it in a container and then just layering our cluster engine on top of it. And they are much smarter about the way they section off work into containers and scale them independently. We're not talking about NuoDB. We're talking about CodeReady Workspaces. And even before you hit download, or I guess at the same time, you might not need to download it manually, because I believe there's going to be an operator.
Operator for it, yeah. That was going to be my next question, is I would imagine there'd be an operator for this stuff. There we go. Okay.
2.1.1, so it's a great version too. That's awesome.
Well, that's the IBM Cloud for you, sir.
Oh, good plug.
Excellent.
Cedric, I've seen this stream evolve too, where like, in the beginning, JJ didn't really even have lighting situation going on, so he was a little shadowed. And then one day, it's been for both of us too, because one day on stream, him and Brian are talking, and I just mute, and you see me messing around with my microphone arm and just having a hell of a time, because I'm getting wires, and everyone chat is laughing at me because like somehow I'm like knotted up in this stupid thing. And then another time during chat, like JJ got his little tweet deck or stream deck delivered. So he's got all the buttons, we just see him get wired in. And every week there's been something more and more interesting.
Really came a long way.
It's come along. Yeah, it really has.
Should I put this in the default namespace?
No, let's put it in let's put it in our project namespace.
Well, we haven't created a project for that.
All right, we'll create a new project.
Oh, okay. Create a project. CodeReady. Ready.
I feel like that's, you're gonna get try it. I think you're getting an error. I don't think dashes are allowed, but try it and now prove me wrong. All right.
There you go. It's underscores. Underscores get very.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I discovered that one yesterday.
I'm old.
Yeah, there you go.
Little horizontal line. They all look the same.
So this already is a little bit weird compared to the original conversation we were having, where workspace or projects are supposed to be ephemeral. And now if we have to install this CodeReady workspace in a specific project, if we decided to create another project, I would have to install it again in that one.
So I wouldn't, we had that conversation about them being ephemeral. It is a bit of a exaggeration to view them as always that way. They're really a namespacing construct. They're a cheap namespacing construct. So disposing them if something goes wrong can be easier than cleaning up. I think branches is a really good analogy where, you know, a branch is not necessarily ephemeral, but it is cheap to, in the Git world, cheap to create and use for a short time and then get rid of. Or you can have like a version branch, like a 1.0 branch that you're never going to delete, and you've configured it the way you need with, you know, the specific commits and things like that. What I like, what makes sense about this model is think about your laptop. Like you install VS Code on your laptop. You get a new laptop, you have to reinstall VS Code.
So we had to create a project to install the operator, but now we create an instance of it, which is not, that would probably be attached to multiple projects.
Probably not, because the operator had to be installed into a specific namespace. It didn't even give us the option of cluster-wide. I feel like it could be a cool situation to say you install the Workspaces operator cluster-wide, and then anyone can provision their own Workspaces instance off of it. I don't know why they didn't allow that. That's one of the, I feel like probably in the stream I've mentioned that you should default to namespace operators unless you have a good reason not to. I would almost argue that's a good reason not to, but there may be more there than I'm realizing. But yeah, we effectively just installed the installer for it.
Yeah.
As kind of wonky as that feels.
Yeah. So now I create the Che cluster, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What?
This is just showing you the YAML in case you wanted to edit it.
Oh, I can leave everything to its default, right?
I would, yeah. Gotta hope so.
Because right now, oh, that's an external DB. So we had a shared DB somewhere that we wanted to store a bunch of shit inside of it. That makes sense.
It is interesting, yeah.
It's just kind of weird that, yeah, there might be a nice event. There's like a note or something saying defaults are okay if you're playing or something like that.
Open up a separate browser to your cluster, because I don't want to like lose where we are, but.
Maybe. Just thinking about it.
Yeah, I didn't mean to break things here.
Can you take a cigarette break real quick?
The cluster did, so why not us? Go back into Operator Hub.
Okay.
And search for the operator again.
If I can spell Workspace correctly.
Yeah, I mean, I've been prepping Cedric for this too. Like, yeah, typing on stream, everybody just goes to shit.
Yep.
So potentially somewhere on here, maybe the repository, maybe somewhere in the docs that I'm just not seeing, but OLM, so the backing technology that shows us this list of operators and lets us install them, part of its metadata for an operator is supposed to include an example template. And that template should have some more documentation to it, or it should be pointing you and saying, hey, to understand how to deploy this, go here. It doesn't surprise me, though, that it's not in where you were expecting to see it. That doesn't mean you're wrong, or doesn't mean it shouldn't be there. But you know, there are some ideas of where the documentation should live outside of it.
File.yaml?
No, so dev file is a very specific concept that says this is a runtime that we're going to run on top of.
Build?
I would say no, build's just
No.
going to be our Docker file. Scroll down. Let's see what it says in the actual README.
A lot of words.
So there's deploy. There's that might be some of it. How to configure. Keep going. Oh no, that's for the thing itself. By the way, you should probably go back and hit create on that default one we had, so it's at least moving while we're looking this up.
Just thinking about it.
No, so this seems to be much more about how to use this repository. So maybe they just have not done a good job of documenting it.
To do, add more scenarios.
They've at least recognized the need for it.
Yeah.
To do, go fuck yourself. So true. So true. Oh, it's a
I know
too.
Mafi's in there joking about the installer to install yours. This is one of those cases where the operators feel weird because I think we're only going to end up with a single pod created for CodeReady Workspaces. And the operator model feels a lot better when I deploy the operator and then it deploys 3 services, 7 pods, and a whole bunch of extra shit. When you get to these one-to-one setups where I had to install a pod just so I can install one other pod, it certainly feels wonky
Weird.
at best.
Weird.
It does get weird though especially when you're trying to learn operators and like the concept, and you've heard them talked about as this amazing thing, and you do exactly what we just did, and we deployed an operator, and we're like, well, where's my friggin' thing I wanted? So while he's typing that, Cedric, JJ is an extremely good open source citizen. And there's probably a smoother way of saying that, but I'm not even saying that tongue in cheek. There's been a bunch of times on the stream where something has come up and my gut reaction to seeing that was, well, that's dumb. Their documentation sucks. They don't have an example. He's actually, and this sounds so stupid to specifically point out, but I make this mistake myself. So, I'm mentioning it. Like, he's like, no, there's a mechanism for this. Like, this is all built in. If you're going to be on GitHub, then you're going to use the issues tracker and actually point out things that are potentially a concern. And I'd say in most of the streams we've been on have resulted in filing a pull request or an issue at some point.
Oh, God.
Yeah, good luck with getting that one fixed.
God, that's not going to happen. Oh, that's just dumb.
So in chat, is that an I? Kitch. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'm glad you did that because I forgot to keep going on that tangent, that it is weird to have the create a pod to create a pod, but the update is totally where it kicks in, is that you have the operator being managed by OLM, and then the operator itself is managing our particular instance, so that pod of a pod type of thing. So you are still gaining the benefits, but and you totally said it correctly too. It is a strange mental leap at the beginning where you're just like, okay.
Is this good? Question mark?
So go to resources.
Oh my God.
Okay, so I said it's only deploying a single pod, but I'm clearly wrong about that because we have Postgres, we have
OpenStack. No, I'm kidding.
I'm only seeing 2, and I'm not seeing any. We have to check for route. Oh, so it's in the process. So it's still being deployed.
That's a lot of stuff, man. What?
All right, let me run my own locally.
Pending Keycloak.
Oops. Sure. Yeah, so I mean, where's my, there we go. If it is a lot of stuff, then that just kind of works in favor of the operator, because all of that coordination, all of that extra stuff that has to go in, like, we're very glad we didn't have to do that ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So people are actually putting stuff in here.
Was that today?
Yesterday, looks like this is the last
2019.
Oh, okay.
Shit.
I'm glad you picked up on that because I totally didn't see it.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and be that person. This is please add information for the header. Oh, shit. Because, I mean, people come here, they click on the link, and the first thing you see is no description topics, website are provided. Like, how do you know what's attached to what? No idea.
Yeah.
Right? That's the whole point of what it is there. People need to see what the repo is for and where to find documentation around this repository. Good old Grammarly, fixing my spelling. I would say also in the same case that like, do we want to add like also how to, like, where's the default YAML to deploy this? Because we haven't been able to find it. I mean, I'm sort of remembering to deploy here. Oh, here it is.
No, that's just to deploy. Yeah, this will be an example for, go to that one. No, sorry, I say that one, like you can see me pointing. Back into CRDs, and then the first one in that list. Since we know when we saw a couple weeks ago in the stream how the operator SDK generates the thing for us, we know that it was in here. And actually what's really neat is this one is reasonably intelligently documented. Like this actually has comments per field, which is really badass. The fact that this was either lost, that's possible it was stripped out by OpenShift and not shown in our YAML viewer. It's possible that that's the likely situation because it would take a lot of effort to
delete all these.
To delete all this. Like it's at that point you're going through effort to delete it from the example. There's one thing I want to pull up though.
Yeah, it feels weird that it's not there. Okay.
Clips Chai, this might be it.
Still going. Oh
yeah, mine's still running too. Actually, it's definitely chugging along here.
How do I? We got someone spamming us again. Who is? Oh crap! And if our Twitch bot is occasionally here, occasionally not, and I haven't spent the time to make sure that it's actually all the way always around. Sorry about the spammers, people. That's I will one of these days I will sit down and get IBM bot back up and running for us. Oh, here we go. Getting close to being done.
Did it kick something else? Dev file registry. Okay. Yeah, so yes, it is a lot of stuff. What's kind of cool to me though is that this is definitely cloud native architecture, that this specific registry for dev files, which again relate to a runtime sort of thing, is its own separate service. They apparently have a separate one for the plugin registry. I'm pulling this all, based on what I'm seeing, but the fact that they split it out is really that kind of microservice design. And then further makes me double down on my comment earlier about this making a ton of sense as an operator. So the question on the persistent volumes, yeah, we could probably look up, JJ, if you want to go to storage on the left side.
Okay.
And persistent volume, go to claims.
Nope,
yeah, we at least see the Postgres. They've bound it to a persistent volume. There's probably got to be something else for user workspaces. So maybe it's going to be on a per project basis where it's storing my settings and my actual Git checkout. But that, depending on why you're asking this, the persistent volumes wouldn't be used as the source of truth for the code because you still would want to bank on some sort of Git repository for that. All right, so,
I'm assuming we gotta wait for status to be available.
I would think so. We got to at least get a route, and I don't know that one's getting created. Actually, do I have a couple of routes?
Oh yeah, there we go. Code Workspaces URL, which would be the actual thing I'd give to both of y'all, right?
Yes, just not actually. I'm sure if you click it, it's going to be application not ready yet, which is what I'm getting.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I figured out how to ban and remove messages. If you didn't notice that,
I saw it delete. I wasn't sure if it was a full-blown ban or not.
Oh yeah, no, I have no problem with being like, nope.
I don't understand those, like, what do people?
I don't know.
Like the calls, I don't know if you guys get them where you are. I know in Jersey, I'm constantly getting calls that appear as local calls, and they're all about car warranties. Like,
I get free trips to 5-star hotels constantly.
Who
Gotta take them up on that.
falls for that? Justice Swift.
I just think it's a cool technology to spoof phone numbers. Like phone numbers are such an old technology, and like voice over IP is just is crazy. And I've even done that myself. Like, it's too easy to replicate someone's phone number. Like, it's crazy. Caller ID is an old technology.
Yeah, seriously.
Yes, I tried to time out Mophie just now, just to see if I could. And it was like, you can't time out a moderator unless you're the owner of the channel.
What would the time I do? Would knock him out, or would it like put a mute on him?
Like he can't be like, yeah, he can't say anything for like 10 minutes.
I got the power.
Oh, that's great. All right. Oh, what is Kitch saying? There is a PVC pro tip. Default PVC is 1 gig. Click. Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. So if I'm correct on that, we would go into the operator here and then create the cluster.
And then we switch off of the YAML view.
Yeah, well, it just finished. It looks like coming up here.
Available, cool.
Oh, and we got certs also.
So I was pulling this up separately. So looking at the OLM metadata for it, yeah, they do use, they do provide descriptions and display names for these variables. So there's one of them, like the spec descriptor description says, log into Eclipse Che with OpenShift credentials, and it's a Boolean. So maybe through the UI, if we had done that instead of just typing stuff in, perhaps it would have given us a little bit easier to see. The default YAML, it's 1 gig. Oh my God, I thought he meant the YAML was 1 gig. I almost vomited in my mouth.
All right, let's take a look at that YAML that he's talking about real quick before I go too far into that.
Right there, line 52.
That's right. Huh.
There's a PVC pro tip, the default. If you just click.
Absolutely, it's a very good thing to know. This is so we eventually, I can imagine in a more production-like environment, you're going to want more than 1 gig for this PVC per workspace. Yeah, you're going to want more start over. If every workspace has persistent volume claims to do stuff, right? You're going to want to give them more than 1 gig. 1 gig seems ridiculously small for doing development work.
Of storage?
Yeah.
What kind of shit you guys doing over at IBM?
Java, man.
NPM modules. Actually, there was quite a few places you could have gone with that one. I walked right into it.
Yeah, so awesome. Well, it's good to know we found that. Thanks, Kitch. It's perfect.
Okay, while you're still here, click on overview.
Overview.
So this view, it's still not amazing, but there's got to be a different place where it shows the descriptions. But these are a fair amount of the fields we could have configured, like that OpenShift OAuth Boolean and things like that. That's some of the stuff that we saw in that YAML, and it wasn't well documented. It doesn't look like all of this is exposed though, so there might have been looking in the wrong place, or it just might not have been as documented as we would have liked, sort of thing. Okay. But in any event, we have Workspaces running.
So if I give this link to y'all, where the fuck did Zoom go? God damn it. So we should all go back to IRC. If I
I was
give,
just thinking about how much I miss IRC today. Like literally at lunch today, for some reason, I was thinking about IRC.
if you can go ahead and click on that link. Actually, how about Jay? How about you share your screen and show us what you see when you do that?
All right.
Because I'm actually curious to see. Because right now I was able to log in. If you didn't see, because I already had access to it, right? Because of my IBM ID, it would immediately ask me for my password, my username and password. I'm curious. Oh, okay. So you do need an IBM ID from your side.
So
Okay.
it's because it's tied into the OpenShift logins, which is that Boolean switch we just saw on the cluster itself, which I'm assuming your OpenShift logins are purely tied to the IBM-based login.
Must be. So then for me to add you, you'd have to create an IBM ID, and I'd have to add you to my cluster to be able to get in to do stuff.
Sounds about right. What is an IBM ID though? Is that like something that I can easily have, or am I gonna have to like pay for?
No, you can easily you fill this out. Cedric, you probably want to do this too. And just fill it out, yeah, with whatever.
Feels weird using a Red Hat email.
I'm also gonna take that off of share just because it feels weird, even if I'm not gonna be typing a password in plain text.
Then send me your IDs back. Then I can add you.
I feel like I can't believe we've gotten this far in the stream where I haven't yet had to do this anyway.
Yes, actually that's true, right?
All right, getting a code.
So do I add you to, I want to add you to the cluster. So can I add you as like a user manager over here? Users? Users are automatically added the first time they log in. What?
That sounds nice and insecure.
Yeah, like.
Jay, did you get your code from this IBM thing?
Not yet. I'm wondering, and I checked. It's not in spam either, so it's either.
Oh, it does take a minute or two.
Okay.
It's
I have seen certain things not come into our Red Hat account. Like I have one hotel tried to mail me like my receipt 3 times, and it somehow got kicked out of. It didn't even get marked as spam. It just disappeared like from our email entirely.
So I got to add you to IAM according to Kitch for this. So this is going to secret button because I don't want people to see what I'm actually doing.
I can't see shit because I don't even know where I left Zoom. I've told you about my multiple work set up here, and I can't actually find anything. There we go. Top secret.
Come on. You got to admit that's good.
It is very good. I just, like I said, it took me a second to actually get back and find this stupid terminal again.
All right, yeah. Send me your email things when you authenticated them.
Yeah, all right. I got my code. Nope.
Hey, sweet.
This is when I find out I don't fully understand IAM.
IBM will take all of my data. Yes.
I mean, they bought all of our data, so it's completely fine.
Oh, if they paid for it, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, $34 billion for all of Red Hat. They can take my data as part of that. I just sent you my email address in Zoom.
You got that? Thank you, sir. Now, there's probably an easier way to do this. I'm going to add you to that one. And I got to remember to delete y'all because this is probably not right. What?
Oh, shit. I think I closed the window.
There we go.
Yeah, this sounds like our Red Hat network ID where it's like free, you just got to sign up and then certain things are gated behind it, even though it's not like a permission thing per se.
Oh, Kitch, please. I would absolutely kill for that. I still do not understand IAM rules for the life of me. Like there's
I
so,
mean,
like, there's
depending
so
on
many,
how this goes, you may be invited like literally right now.
there's so many like nuances to it, and there's so much cruft around it too that people just didn't. We just kind of just threw everyone in there. It's
and Mafia, I've been stuck in my house in quarantine for 3 months with my firstborn. You can have her right now.
All right. So, okay, I'm going to take this off. Now, I added y'all to, so if you log in, you should now, up in the top right-hand corner, you should see this account up here of 1323 up in the top corner.
If I log into what, my IBM?
Yeah, or cloud.ibm.com. So I should be able to now add y'all.
Yeah, 1323-471.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to do anything, but you should at least have that account on your thing.
I mean, there's a really tasty looking add resource button right here.
I'm pretty sure I turned that.
Good and not attempt, but
I'm pretty sure I turned that off. I'm pretty sure I did.
Boom. All right, I'm in as well.
Okay, cool. So that means you should be able to search. So search for OpenShift, or here, I'll just put in the chat. OpenShift, Scar Labs. So that link, or search for that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And see if that OpenShift cluster comes up.
I see it.
You do?
All right. Yes.
Okay.
Open Web Console. See what happens.
Oh, there we go. Hey, perfect. You see how it just popped up? You both logged in.
Yay!
All right. Okay, so this isn't complete insanity. This is actually starting to make a little bit of sense. Okay.
And if I go back to that URL, I got redirected to a IBM identity. Okay, now it's asking me to authorize access. So sure, take my firstborn. And I'm at the point now, I'm in CodeReady Workspaces, update account information.
Sweet, same here.
So yeah, do it.
I'm gonna change my username and see if that completely messes me up.
God damn it.
Oh no, you're so close.
I know.
You're like, the finish line is right in front of you, and you're like, I'm gonna take a left.
No, I'm just gonna rip out the engine to see if I can like roll across it. We don't need no engine anymore. It doesn't need to get us anywhere.
You know the funny part is, JJ, is as we were talking about this stream earlier, like prepping him for it, I was like, no, this is how things work. We start doing something, and JJ's like, well, what happens if you do this? And I say, don't do that. And he's like, well, no, do it. I want to see what happens. That's almost literally what I just did to him. I'm like, oh, okay, we're finally there. One of the smoothest experiments we've run on stream yet, where we've actually got to just the finish line. I'm like, but I don't like this IAM prefix. I wanted to just say JDob like all my other ones.
It's true.
But I'm in.
Awesome. So we okay. Humor me, just because I want to prove to everyone too that you're just not saying it. Everyone, share your screen and just show that picture that I just showed that you've logged into your base thing, right? I think actually come to think, I think we can all share a screen at the same time.
Terrifying.
Just to yeah.
This will stop other screen sharing. Oh
no, try one more time. Try one more time. I think I may have fixed it.
Oh, I accidentally opened Photoshop. Hold on.
Such an intern. Such an intern.
It's because he didn't have a real function keys. So I'm sharing right now, and you can see my name at the bottom here, and my very cool Gravity Falls wallpaper to prove that, yes, this is me.
Awesome.
And I've got the Mac, the Red Hat Mac.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you are. Oh, damn. All right. Oh, Jay, go ahead and stop sharing. Let's see. There we go. Yay! Yay! Oh God, he has OpenStack open. I see the logo. That's not a good sign. What? Awesome. Okay, cool. So we successfully got everyone to be able to log in to CodeReady Workspaces with IBM IAM, which is fucking bonkers. So I think that's a great place for us to take a couple-minute break, old man legs, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll take about 5-10 minutes, grab some water and all that jazz, and we'll come back and we'll start actually hacking on this stuff.
Yeah,
good?
me and Cedric just hacked the IBM cloud, so that's a victory.
We're in.
Awesome.
All right, be back in a little bit.
Yep.
Take care.
So Cedric, we stay logged in. He's just gonna like pause the stream part, and then I'm just gonna grab some water and stuff and be back in like 5 minutes. So don't disconnect, but feel free to get up and walk around if you need to.
Okay. Do I need to mute Mike?
No, just before as Jay was saying, don't worry about logging out. I actually hard mute it, so it is not on the stream. It just says "be right back."
Okay, perfect.
It's all muted. Yep.
Awesome. 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, about 5 minutes.
All right, cool.
All right, sir. It's a good kid, man.
I like him a lot.
Yeah,
He's energetic. He's a real good talker in terms of just like being just personable, like even over video chat. And I don't know, he sounds like his interest is a lot in developer advocacy, and I think he'd be just really fits for it really, really well already.
Yes. Yeah, my initial take is He's a good kid. And he's got the passion. He's got the hunger.
Yeah.
Which is important to find. It's hard to find.
It's hard to find, exactly. Like that's what I'm like. I tell my students that I'm like, you guys, when you go to interviews, I was like, you can learn tech. What I can't teach you is to be excited. And like that's what I want to see in an interview is just come in and just be like, yes, I want to do fun, nerdy shit. Exactly.
All right. Cedric, you live?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. So we all got water. We're all good to go.
Let's do it.
All right. And I haven't hit the button, but they can hear our voice. And now they can see us. There we go. Hello, everybody. And we're back. Thanks for sticking around. If you did stick around, or if you just joined us, thank you for joining us. Today we are playing with something called CodeReady Workspaces. And no joke, it might actually be working. I'm genuinely shocked, and I just jinxed us.
I was about to say, I'm like, I make all these comments about us being dinosaurs and having seen things, and then you go and make the most rookie-ass mistake humanly possible.
It's true, because I want to see it fall apart in my hands, so I have to learn how to fix it, because that's the only way I can learn how to do it. By the way, hello, who are you?
Who are me? So I am Jason Novies. I'm a developer advocate at Red Hat, focusing on OpenShift.
Awesome. And we have a new friend this week. Say
hello.
Hi.
My name is Cedric Clyburn. I'm a developer advocate intern for Jason Dobies, and happy to be here.
Awesome. So yes, we're and hi, I'm JJ. If you didn't catch on to that, my name should be down in the bottom right hand corner or left hand corner. And we are on the IBM developer stream, which you are probably obviously realizing this because we haven't streamed for over an hour now. But I just want to make sure that if someone has just joined us, they know who we're talking to. So we are sharing my screen, and we have now all successfully seen something like this, which is CodeReady Workspaces. We do not have, okay, so Jay, Cedric, and I are all now logged into CodeReady Workspaces. That's CodeReady -CodeReady. That is dumb.
So route derivation ends up prefixing service name. Appending service name and project name and some DNS information about the cluster itself. We could change that if we had a nice DNS entry available, like Ask Our Labs, and threw CodeReady Workspaces in front of it and wanted to mess with that kind of thing. But let's not tangent too far off on that.
Yeah. Let's just get our thing to work first, and then we can do all that. It would be neat to have workspace.askourlabs.io built at some point to continue moving forward, because that's worth it.
That's a known entity. That's not that hard to do. So there's low risk. Why bother with that? Let's do something that we can break.
Okay. So now we have all logged in, and I want to create. So we have.
So, before you do that, let me just a different spin on the kind of summary standpoint. So one single instance of CodeReady Workspace is deployed in a single project in this OpenShift cluster. Cedric, JJ, and I all have permissions to log into the cluster, which is what this Workspaces instance is going to use to authenticate its users. And if you were here 10 minutes ago, Cedric and I were getting set up with an IBM ID so we can get permissions added to this cluster. So the way we installed Workspaces is that the auth is tied directly to the underlying cluster auth. That is configurable. I want to say you can do it something like attach it to GitHub and say, just use my GitHub login and do permissions based off of organizations in that.
I genuinely thought that's what we were going to do. I did not realize we were going to use the IBM ID IAM.
I think it was just a default flag that we just didn't, because while we were commenting on how the example custom resource was not documented, I think one of the entries we missed in there was the entry that said, don't use cluster authentication. But that may be some kind of separate config that I haven't really played with yet. But it was cool. To IBM Cloud's point, it was actually pretty seamless for us to get added to this cluster. So we authenticated. Okay, ready? Let me see if I can say this out loud. We authenticated to CodeReady Workspaces through OpenShift's authentication, which is actually tied to IBM Cloud's IBM I am. Shit, is that the name of the program?
Yes.
IBM I am. And somehow we are all logged into this instance. So 3 browsers, 3 separate literal states that we're all residing in, 1 instance of CodeReady Workspaces, all of our own accounts though, which is a very relevant part of this. This isn't just like we created a God account and shared a username and password.
Exactly. And it's very easy for me to remove because we're using the IAM rules, which by the way, I'm going to at the end of this because I genuinely don't think I've disabled everything. But that's a different conversation. Don't do it. Don't, Jay, stop. Stop, Jay. Stop it.
The best
Hands
part
off the
about
keyboard.
that, the best part about that is I was literally like moving my workspaces around to find where that screen was. You had no way of knowing that other than my reputation.
Yep.
And
Wow.
you just saw me
I
kind
could
of
see it in
perk
your
up.
eyes. See it in your eyes. You're like, oh, fuck, I could do this. I can see it.
I completely forgot. I have great privileges on the IBM cloud.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so let's just start from the very beginning before we bring y'all into the situation. Let's just click a button first to see what happens, right? Because I've never touched this before, apart from seeing the Che workspace with Andrea. No, what was his name?
Natali.
Natali. Oh, so close.
Avito.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He's a good
He
dude.
showed it. He walked us through it, but I didn't actually do it. So I'm curious to see if I click on go.
God damn it.
It's Python like 3 over.
I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. Oh no! What?
That's a sign. That's a sign.
Started in a namespace project, CodeReady, which is not a valid name.
Oh my God, is it because you left your username as that #IamJJ?
No.
Do it again. Hit that button again, because I swear to God, that's what it said. Started in namespace/project.
No, that doesn't exist. So hang on. So I come back here.
I would like to point out,
Jason, you gotta try.
I just did. I was the one who changed my username to JDob, despite opposition from my 2 colleagues on the call, and yet I'm the one who managed to create a Python-based workspace right now. And it's
No.
Wow. So the default's wrong?
the default. That's not to like be like this is an IBM thing, but the fact that there's a hashtag.
Oh, so
Kitch
was actually already on top of this for us. I wasn't too sure what he was talking about, but this is actually exactly what he was talking about. Oh,
Hey,
I'm
go ahead and
going
edit
to-
that code red operated. Oh, allow user defined workspace names. So I should generate a namespace, including your username, which includes characters. Son of a bitch, he really did see this one coming.
yeah.
Well played. Get
Yes.
on the
Oh.
screen, please.
Oh, and we can't edit the login either.
Oh no.
At least
Okay.
not from CodeReady. Not from CodeReady.
All right. Why is it all grayed out, by the way? It seems weird, right? Isn't this grayed out?
That's what it looks like, yeah. Mine is still stuck at this loading, so for all of my shit talking, I'm only a step further than you, but not. Oh, it looks like I'm just starting something. So yeah, it created a Kubernetes namespace called jdob-CodeReady, which is again what I think it's just saying. And I'm sure if you poke around your cluster, you can see that now. And that's why it failed for you guys, because it wasn't able to create one named #.
I'm clicking connect my GitHub account, and it just comes and goes. That seems weird.
Oh, it gave me a hello world application and everything in Java. Or it's Python. Still seems to be loading. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. Go back to Python.
Is it letting you make a workspace with your hashtag name?
Well, so according to Kitch, instead of using the default like button thingy, you do create a workspace, that left-hand button,
Okay.
Oh,
and
okay.
then it goes to a new workspace. That's what he's saying.
Oh,
I
shit,
missed
my
that
bad.
step too. I was reading on the side, but I see how we got here.
Okay.
This
bad.
Kubernetes namespace in the middle, I think, is still going to be a problem, though. Yeah. And then you're saying that one's the one that we can't edit?
Mm,
I can't.
no, it looks like you can just change it.
You can change yours?
No, I guess I can't. So he's saying
Mine's-
with a allow user defined thing posted above.
Yes, this was back at the operator level, he said? Yeah, code
Gosh,
operator, yeah.
Son of a bitch. All right.
Allow user-defined workspace namespaces. Okay, so that's effectively saying let the user change instead of defaulting it.
Yeah, CodeReady Workspaces, Workspace.
I'm to the point where we're pulling an image, starting a container. I'm cruising over here because my OCD did not allow me to leave that pound sign in my username.
Oh yeah, here we go. There's the OpenShift off. True. That's what we could have changed earlier, and then change that probably to true, and then we do that is probably the Google or the GitHub.
GitHub,
thing.
yeah.
That's probably spinning up, what is it, OAuth tokens and shit like that. Wrong YAML, okay.
This is just the operator, yeah, that guy.
This one?
The cluster and that YAML.
Okay, and the actual instance. External false. That is a nice.
There you go, line
password.
46.
46. So this set this to true.
And this is going to reload some stuff, so it's going to knock my workspace out from underneath me, or at least the actual.
Okay, so save and reload.
I just hit save, and then now go over to the resources tab, and we should see something restarting somewhere. There we go, that CodeReady pod in the middle. A few seconds ago. Okay, finished importing projects. Good, so I'm still on my browser. I see code, I see Python hello world. And I'm going to run Python file in terminal. And I see hello world. Sweet.
Oh yeah, here we go. Now I can edit. No, I can't. What? Let me refresh this. Oh.
I'm going to give, might just take it a second for that pod to finish starting up.
Okay.
Because I'm still, well, however funkiness works, I'm still in this like live instance here.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Starting to see stuff again. Oh, here we go.
Ah, cool.
Well, I can't create a new namespace.
Jesus, you're needy.
I know. Isn't that weird? Like I can select one, like any namespace for that matter, but I can't actually create one.
You go to like administration on the left. Like maybe that's available elsewhere.
No. Create a custom workspace.
So, I mean, arguably, I can see an argument for why it's not supported, because that's not the model that they really want you to follow. I mean, it is and it isn't. In my project, I've deployed workspaces, and presumably that is my workspaces instance for my project. The idea of reaching from one workspace, a workspace in a project into a different project is a little funky, but they're still both owned by me, so it shouldn't be that weird, which is why it's allowed, but probably why we're not. Oh, I guess go back. We see the JDOB one.
Yep, I see yours there. And then also, I created another project in OCP, just as like Kitch was saying, which is what I did here. But it just seems like, just from a usability standpoint, if I'm creating a new workspace, I should be able to create a new project here that it's already there.
Agreed.
Right? Like it seems
it's not ideal. I don't think you're wrong in assuming that there should have been a create option in that.
And then I'll just
I also hate the coloring on this page. This light gray looks disabled as all hell.
Yeah, it really does. It looks like it's grayed out. I'm not crazy, right? Like,
nope.
Like I'm not supposed to click any of these.
Even when you highlight it, it still looks like you can't. Like
yeah.
Don't you have any UX people we can put on the stream and just be like, oh, they actually are using our stuff, so we can because I'll call it out. I'll be like, this shit is dumb. We should fix this.
You know, it's funny you say that, because I was just explaining to Cedric how our UX team for OCP itself is surprisingly super open. that they come to us, the developer advocates, very regularly to get feedback on upcoming features. What the hell? Your error message is weird. But I haven't seen anything specifically for CodeReady Workspaces.
What did I do?
Did you somehow unselect that JJ Learning stuff?
I don't think so. Okay. Maybe. Maybe. I made it angry.
What's that right to the left to configure? What is that square? Is that open? Show workspace. Or does that just bring you back to where you were?
I made it really angry. It's not doing anything anymore.
Oh
Can I make a wish?
My Python still works.
JJ, how did you get multiple Kubernetes namespaces? Like the option to select more?
What?
So hit refresh.
When you were
Cedric,
like hitting it.
When we changed the YAML for the CodeReady Workspaces resource itself, that should have enabled it. So we set it to true. So you might just need to hit refresh.
Yeah, it's perfect now.
All right, so let's see how it works for you, because JJ did something weird.
On brand.
Actually, this is interesting though. So Cedric and I should be able to get to the OCP web console itself, and he can create his new project through that, right?
Here, how about you share and kind of show us what you're doing? Well, I'll let this do its thing in the background.
Okay.
Somebody's got Windows.
Cedric, do you want to share? This is part I got. Do you want to screen share, and we'll go through your process on yours and see what it looks like?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All right, so I was a dashboard, and then
so you're going to need to go into OCP itself, so the actual OpenShift login. Okay, good. There we are. And then just go to projects on the left, and then create project.
Okay, and let me copy your name, JDob-CodeReady.
So that was derived from them. They're the ones who created that.
Oh, really?
Yep.
And to Jay's point, because but our username had the thingy in the beginning when we first logged into it. His worked because we didn't do the weird pound sign symbol inside of it, right?
Yes, exactly. Because like I said, when we're joking about it, but it really is my compulsion to how ugly it looked with all that prefix information. So I changed it to JDob, which accidentally got me working.
Fix the problem.
Without you, where would we be?
We'd all be in a very, very a worse place. Let's put it that way, because we wouldn't know what the fuck is going on.
All right, so just type in Cedric-test or something like that, or
how was seddev?
There you go.
All right, bet.
Okay, now back to CodeReady Workspaces.
And so I'm guessing if we just refresh that, it'll.
That's my thinking too.
Auto-populate.
Now we can blow up this installation, right, and then just recreate the instance of CodeReady containers and fix our names on all of them if we wanted to. But I'm really curious to see if we can get to at least the next step here before rolling all this back.
No, I like where your head's at. Change that name up there and change it to just say Twitch.
Yeah.
And I'm mostly figuring this out because I'm mostly saying do this because it'll help us figure out where they put things when they prefix them. So seddev, that's good.
Yep, it's already there.
Awesome. Sorry, I don't even like Python that much, but for the sake of this. All right, perfect. And then I guess
I didn't even touch anything else at that point. I just left it.
Okay, curiosity here. Click on that. Go back to that GitHub one and try to connect your GitHub to see if it pops up for you. Yeah, see mine. Same thing happened to mine. That was so weird. Yeah.
Trying to see what the link is before it.
Well, it usually asks you to like authenticate with GitHub with an OAuth token, and that's usually that site that pops up. And I guess something's broken there because it closes immediately.
True, but I wonder if you could just use your own Git. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, no, yeah,
Something
you can
like that.
absolutely just put a GitHub URL in. That's the same problem happened to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where's
Failed
it
to get the works.
IAM. Is that what's before the pound sign?
Yeah,
Yes.
but it's lower. I mean, it's lowercase, but I don't know if there's a. Hold on. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Wish I could change my name.
Yep. All right. So let's blow up CodeReady containers right now.
Give me
try this.
2 seconds before you do that.
1,
and I'll
2.
shut up. I will.
Can't have fun. It's
share
not worth
my
it.
Screen.
Can't have fun. It's not worth it.
Exactly. I need to get back to my web console. You know what? Just JJ in the background, create me a JDob-2 project.
All right. Give me a second.
While I'm setting this up.
All right. Projects. JDob-2.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds. Ah, stole my screen. JDob.
Yeah, nobody cares about that. We know what that looks like.
Oh. All right, there you go. You got one.
All right, so I should be sharing, should be seeing my CodeReady workspaces. I'll show you my workspace in a second before we destroy it. But I want to do the same thing you guys have been doing, except with my supposedly good username, just to see what it would look like. So leave it on hello world, Python, JDob2, named Twitch, create and open.
Oh.
More, okay, I guess there's some kind of thing in place that only lets me have a single workspace. So not the same error.
That's
might be because
weird.
this one is
yes.
running.
Stop that one. Hit the stop button. Yeah.
But it works. I don't want to break it. All right.
we're gonna nuke it from orbit in a minute anyway. It's not a big deal.
All right. So how do I view?
Starting. Pulling down Kubernetes.
Where the hell do you see that?
Doing Kubernetes and no, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. Reticulating splines.
Yeah, exactly.
Configure add project.
Now I'm
curious. I want to get back to that view of
how is our actual cluster doing?
Open. That's the word I was looking for. Okay, so loading.
Ooh.
This is what I saw last time, and then it takes a bit, but there was some logs down here over time when it starts pulling down the images and things like that. But I'm going to call this progress and a victory and wonder if there's a bug in the whole create a new workspace thing that's still somehow using parts of the username.
Now, I will say this isn't the best way to like old sysadmin habits here. Our CPU usage is pretty low across the cluster, but our memory usage is already at 50%. With just us playing with just not even successfully getting 3 workspaces up and running, we're already at 50% of our memory usage. Yeah, that might be a problem, gentlemen. That might be a problem.
I can't even log into it anymore. What is?
What? I didn't do anything. I swear.
That's weird. Let me try it. It was an internal server error as occurred. Okay, no, I'm back in. I don't know. Maybe we're using too much resources or something. But...
We're abusing the system too much.
This one, yeah. This is Twitch. So you can start the nuke if you want. This took last time probably about 2 minutes or so to start all of this stuff. Actually, you know what? I lied again. Give me 1 second. I want to log into OCP now. And come on, open the console.
3 pop-up windows.
Oh, you see that on mine? Oh, here we go. Here we go.
What was that?
So yeah, I'm not even sure what you guys are seeing at this point. Okay, so you guys are seeing the output though. So it looks like it is successfully creating this workspace. And we can save what I was going to do until later, but I'm curious to hop into OCP and look around this JDob2 project and see all of the stuff that it has done.
Yeah, do it.
I don't know why 4 pop. It's because every time I hit this,
you need to trust IBM always. Trust IBM always.
Outside of your exceptionally creepy simulation comments, I got into this at one point. So, go away. Okay, so we are looking at that projects. JDAP2. What is this requester? That's interesting. Oh, okay. So you're the one who created it.
Yeah.
Okay, I created this one.
But do you have access to it? Oh, interesting. So you have full, because I guess you're an administrator because I didn't change anything.
Is that how you added me? That would be interesting in and of itself. Yeah.
I just defaulted. I was just like, give access, have fun, good luck, kind of fun.
Good luck, have fun. Okay, so we have the pod running for my workspace. And if we look, okay, so my workspace is up. So let me at least show this part. So this is what we should get to is hello world. And then it's going to give us your VS Code looking things, even down to like the bright blue bar that VS Code defaults to, which is ugly as shit. So
my primary editor.
Do not show that. And then I'm going to right click and say run Python in terminal. And then ta-da, we get hello world. And then I change it and we right click and we say run and we now get goodbye world. So absolute ass basics of something up. Now my whole multi-tenancy test is going to be super interesting because since we're all admins and can reach across projects, we may have a lot more allowed than in traditional environments if we had chose a different auth engine, but I'm okay with that because I'm kind of curious if you, in fact,
I think we should just try and get the shit to work first before we start cutting away permissions from people.
Right? Oh, exactly. I believe I don't want to get to that. I do want to see you do something though. So go into, you know what, I'm going to send you this URL. And I'm curious because I'm curious how like the URLs work. Like, is this just mine? Like this URL's got it. Where the hell's my chat window? Chat. So JJ, go to that, and it's definitely got some JW stuff in there.
So Kitch just stop sharing your screen. Kitch just asked some questions. Here we go. Yeah, stop sharing. Stop sharing.
Wait. I want to check out the theme support because it's kind of got me wondering now. Preferences.
Yeah. So Kitch, we really do have a problem. Oh God, that's
God. Why did I pick that one?
Of all the ones to pick, Jesus Christ.
Yes, Mafi, and thank you. I blame you for me having gone to that.
That looks very Chromebooky. Like again, Cedric, you weren't here when we were talking about this, so I'll repeat myself. But the beauty of this is that I genuinely see banks or massive corporations that they have to have everything inside of their own infrastructure, like banks or whatever, that they can give you a Chromebook that has no hardware on it whatsoever. You log into your workspace and do your work and deploy, and then all of a sudden everything's just groovy, right? Where you can have truly controlled environments to deploy next versions of Java, deploying next versions of code, which is super powerful when you start talking about the larger corporations out there that have to spend so much time and effort to create barriers for all the different restrictions they have for security. This actually takes a lot of that away, which is really, really neat. So
no, that's absolutely amazing. We were talking about that, Jay, like this morning, right? You mentioned something to me about
the banks. Yeah, so we had a call this morning internally in a developer thing where I can talk about some of this stuff. Some of it was internal, but and the timing was interesting because we spent a fair amount of time talking about CodeReady Workspaces, and that kind of triggered me to start pointing out some of the industries where you run into hiccups that, you know, we're very open here and you're going to see us do a lot of very open things, but banks are typically a giant headache to deal with. Government stuff, especially like
NAPs, government. Oh my God.
The government was the other NAPs. And the disconnected instances and things like that. So I was just kind of prepping on all those, like, don't be surprised when you hear these particular things called out as special. And then sure enough, JJ, who's my long lost brother, mentioned banks, literally 5 hours later to be like, no, Jay actually kind of, not completely full of shit. He might've been onto something on that.
The idea that you could get, it's back to dumb terminals, right? Back when you had to share CPU time on mainframes to do coding, right? And you'd have a dumb terminal that had nothing on it, and it was just an interface to a server. You're doing the exact same sort of workflow, which is great. Also, that means you don't have to ship fucking MacBooks to every single developer now. So you're not spending $2,000 per developer for just hardware. You're spending like most $500 for a Chromebook for them to be functional on day one. That's really, really valuable. It's really valuable.
Yeah, it was one of the slides even specifically had that type of thing, but talking about the cost per developer and developer laptop versus, I forget the term they use for non-developer laptop, but it was exactly what you just said, the Chromebook versus like the giant badass MacBook.
Microsoft Office, you mean? Yeah, it's a laptop that just runs Microsoft Office.
Yeah, exactly. So
all right, stop sharing your screen. So I took that link and I plugged it in, and again, Zoom disappeared on me. So interestingly enough, that is the error I got.
The Workspace doesn't exist. Unable to open.
All right,
so you're already in the IDE.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there is some kind of separate permissions things going on, because look at the name of your recent workspaces on the left. It's still just showing yours with that default name.
And I can't actually get into it, it seems.
So they do have their own localized form of RBAC thing going on.
So yeah, how do I actually bring up the workspace? I can't, it seems. See? So do we want to quickly pivot, blow up this again and rebuild it? Or do you want to keep trying to poke around to figure out what some of these RBAC rules?
Let's blow it up and let's get us all on usernames that we know are not causing an issue, and then go back to dorking around with this stuff.
And then good old tennis. By the way, Brian, you know you can join us. I know.
Yeah, happen, buddy. You know the link. All right.
Yeah.
J console workspaces. Pick your workspace to share.
Right.
No, so, you start destroying. I'm going to bring Brian up to speed on where we are. Brian, are you coming in here or are you sticking in chat? And then I'll wait the 20-second delay here.
So this is the namespace of the actual operator. So we want to go to the installed operators in here. Then we want to go here and then delete this.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, yes, this is the less nuclear option, and we'll just redeploy workspaces. I was thinking delete the project and redeploy the operator, but that is spectacularly nuclear. This should work. Okay.
Because I don't want to have to sit here for like 45 fucking minutes again, you know?
I know.
So create a cluster again.
Let's make that one flip the... Oh, shit. Okay, so I was going to say let's change that thing, but we actually shouldn't need to, because if we do this correctly with the usernames, we don't need to allow separate ones.
That is correct.
And we've proven on my account that functionality does work, barring wonky usernames. So,
and let's not mess with the GitHub authentication yet.
Too many moving
just because.
Parts.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so create this. Let this come up. We'll see where we are.
Now, what's also going to be interesting is I still have that JDOB project out there. So the JDOB.CodeReady, I can't decide if I want to delete it.
I think you should.
I think you should. I want to leave it and see if it can pick up the state. I'm going to delete it though.
Yeah, let's not roll the dice quite yet.
Actually, it's funny because project deletes are not instantaneous, so I may still run into issues if it registers as terminating. So I might even pick a different name.
One of the greatest quotes of any sci-fi show. Sometimes you got to roll a hard 6. Come on, Jay. Come on, Jay.
Wait. I know this. I know this. Oh my God. Wait, shut up. I know this.
You're fucking disappointing me, man. Killing me. I had Stargate up a minute ago. This is the only second sci-fi reference I've made this whole time on this stream.
It's something.
This one's really good.
I think I'm wrong, but I'm going to guess Firefly.
No. God damn it.
I feel like
PSG, man. Battlestar Galactica.
Oh!
God,
I am disappointed in myself.
I'm so old.
Adama. Oh God. No, Cedric. No.
Wait.
I'm kidding. I watched Battlestar Galactica growing up. It's fun.
Okay. growing up. That in and of itself just makes me feel old because I was already graduated, but sure. Yes, okay. I am disappointed in myself. It's funny, speaking of rewatching though, I'm up to season 4 of rewatching that, and I just kind of fell off because I have the DVDs, but I never feel like getting up to put them in. So I was watching it on streaming before it got ripped off of streaming.
No, we don't talk about season 5, but like past season 4 anyway.
I know.
Like it got real weird, and I mean I get it. People think that's like the best part of it, but
do they really?
Some people, I've met some fans that are like, no, it's about the journey, and I'm like, no, go fuck yourself. That's a bad part of the show.
Yeah, exactly. I got to that season 3 finale and I forgot how, like, I was like, okay, this is where there was still potential before they started. They had just found, and we're gonna keep this spoiler free. I will simply say, had just revealed 4 of 5, and I'm gonna leave it at that. And that didn't necessarily make sense, but it could have been used well, and it wasn't. And leading up to that, though, like, goddamn, seasons 1, 2, and 3, so good.
So good. I still believe 33, the episode 33, is one of the best television shows, or episode of a television show ever created.
It's also the first one.
First real one, yeah.
Outside of the
miniseries, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
It's funny you say that because I completely agree. I always remembered, I initially watched it 10-ish years ago, and remembered that episode. I remembered a few key plot points. I remembered a lot about that episode, and then I rewatched it, and I was surprised that was the very first episode past the initial prequel that sets the stage of everything, or the first miniseries. But I couldn't believe that that's how they started everything off with that, like, stressful, tense, uncomfortable, gross feeling episode.
Yeah, and you feel exhausted at the end.
I felt dirty, like just like you want to shower, like I'm tired, I'm sweaty. Amazing. God, now I gotta rewatch that. Maybe I'll just start over at season 1 again though.
There you go. That's what you should do. Yes. Or no, you're gonna just start watching Stargate. That's fine. Like I've started watching Stargate at the beginning of the quarantine.
Okay.
I've gotten through season 8. And I'm now starting to watch Atlantis in parallel. And if you don't know how many episodes that is, that's a lot of episodes.
It's a lot of episodes. Atlantis alone is 5 seasons at 20-ish episodes a season?
22.
24, 22, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a typical season.
Yeah. But I fell in love with Stargate all over again. It's so great.
I think I'm at the tail end of season 3 of Atlantis.
Nice.
On my kind of nightly rewatches. I love that one. And all of it's just amazing cheese. It's amazing intro song cheese. Like so much of that just feels right. And it's a very quarantine thing for me.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I'm thankful for that quarantine to give me an excuse to sit and watch it. Just because, I would have been a year or so before I watched it again anyway. By the way, youngin on the call, we're talking about Stargate. If you've never heard about it, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do it while that's coming up real quick. Stargate.
I just Googled it as well.
You start here with a company called Stargate SG-1. Start there.
So cheesy.
No, it's not.
No, it is, but it's
so
great in its cheese though.
Oh, it's so good.
It is so good.
So good.
Where does
it's only 10 seasons long. So like 220 episodes.
It's a quick digest,
Exactly. Michael Shanks, you fall in love with him. I mean, it's MacGyver, man.
MacGyver.
Oh God, that's a really bad picture.
He got really bad. He was not that bad in the show.
That was a really bad picture.
God, age sucks, man.
It does.
And then a fair amount of those guys have appearances in Atlantis. MacGyver's a somewhat repeating character. Amanda Tapping just straight up in the 5th season.
Oh, she also directs a lot of the episodes. And if you didn't know, a lot of modern day sci-fi that's out of Canada, which is the 9 out of 10 times all the shows out of Canada, are actually directed by Amanda Tapping. She's made a whole career out of direction, which is really, really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all. Real quick, don't forget to send us the updated URL.
That's what I was doing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm glad you guys could, talk about Stargate SG-1.
And you're this is some education here for you.
Yeah. All right, so we'll change our username.
Episodes.
So you change your username to something just standard, right? You don't want to have an @ sign or anything like that. Like
Yes.
let's just do that, and then I'll do my awesome@ibm.com. JJ. There we go.
So to be safe, I went with JDobies this time just because I'm not 100% convinced that OCP properly reaped my old project to not get in the way.
Okay. So I'm going to come down here and just click on this one just for shits and giggles. And this time it worked.
Hey.
Yep.
Good to know that. God, I mean, I can almost guarantee no one in QA has ever seen that issue because who on earth would think to put a username like that? Oddly, I'm surprised.
IBM. IBM.
I mean, I can see how that would tie in, but like, very nice, very nice. But I'm surprised there's not like that's kind of a lacking in Workspaces that it doesn't have validation on that input form to be like, yeah, dumbass, don't put a # in your username.
Is this open source?
Jay, yeah.
Where's the where's the issues? Let's be good citizens.
Here's where it gets fuzzy. I think it would be the Eclipse Che repo.
You have access to find people to tell us where to find this. So
I mean, you're right, but at the same time, I don't actually have a. Why am I over here now? Ton of people, a ton of contacts on that team. But we are closer to them than you are per se. We do work with that developer business unit. So next time I find an avenue to be like, hey, listen, who do we talk to about this? Because
or hell, just clip out the video and put it on your little mailing list and be like, hey, this is dumb.
Add this to your test cases.
Yep, exactly.
Che shits the bed when hashtag is in the username.
Hashtag and @sign.
Yeah, right. Who knows? I mean, it's a variety of mess right there. Okay. Okay. So while this is loading, Cedric, you said you have seen Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. So my family just like loved Battlestar Galactica as a kid, and I was like, oh, spaceships.
Nice.
You know, it's funny. As a 41-year-old adult, I'm like, oh, spaceships.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I think we have talked on this stream about naming schemes and stuff like that. And the two servers I have in the basement, there was a point when they were named Galactica and Pegasus.
Nice.
Whoa, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So I guess to bring Cedric up, we talked about nerdy naming schemes and things like that. Like right now, all of the desktops in my house are named after World of Warcraft locations. But each time I rebuild them, I tend to just find a new scheme to get into. It's like Star Wars ships, and that time for whatever. But I had the two, Galactica and Pegasus, just made so much sense to use.
Nice. My main one, which is that guy that I point to all the time, that's TARDIS because it's bigger on the inside.
I like it.
And then my workhorse box is called Skippy, which is from a book series called The Expedition Force. If you've ever heard of this.
I don't think I've heard of that.
So, okay, Brian.
New guy.
So Audible.
Hey guys, I'm the new member to the stream. I heard that it's really easy.
We've actually been surprisingly successful. So Brian, I'm gonna bring you up to speed while JJ's looking this up. We have using IBM Cloud,
Battlestar Galactica, but you know,
we're gonna get back to that in a second. Using IBM Cloud, deployed Workspaces into that using the operator. That was fine. When Cedric and I went to log in, Workspaces was chained to OpenShift credentials, which is using the IBM Cloud credentials. So we created IBM IAM accounts, and JJ was able to add us to the IBM Cloud. So in theory, I can provision resources under his account right now. And it let us log in, which is all very cool that all worked for us. Like you've been on this stream before. That was surprisingly efficient for all of us.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Whoa, that's not cool. That's not cool. So, okay, hang on. Oh, Brian, go ahead and set up an IBM ID, and I'll add you to this thing too, so we can have another data point. But it just said, hey, PY linters and install. You should install it. I'm like, okay, cool, bro. Install. Okay. and now it just was like, go fuck yourself. That's not cool. Like, come on, man. That's not cool.
User install. I don't understand because user site packages are not visible in this virtual env. So this is a very Python specific issue, specifically to this base image that it's running in. I mean, I don't mind saying that also in that call we were referring to earlier, we had heard of a end user experience who wasn't particularly thrilled with how CodeReady Workspaces ran. And I'm not surprised given the kind of, what we've seen so far, it is certainly not necessarily the smoothest of situations here. I mean, running a hello world at least, even if the pilot didn't work. Let's get that right.
But once again, by us having now this artifact of this stream of us messing around with it, we can take that back down to the people that actually make decisions and be like, hey, these are 4 relatively highly skilled engineers trying to use this thing to get it to work. And these are the problems they saw. You should probably, imagine not being skilled trying to do this, right?
Yeah, right.
And
so is this the right, because there's multiple containers that you could open that are all running in the same pod. So whenever you go to terminal, it asks you which container are you in?
there was a button right here that said install pylint or go away. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll install pylint because it suggested it needed pylint, and that's why that popped up.
Yeah, it's possible we could hack around and get it working, but I see JJ's point that we shouldn't have to when they give us a button that says, click this. And we click it, it says, nah, just kidding.
Yeah, that's
I
not
agree.
cool.
That should work.
Echo. Is this actual Python?
It's a bash prompt.
Oh, it's a bash prompt?
Yeah, do a echo $shell. Now, I don't know if you saw me playing around with this. Now do a who am I?
JBoss.
Yeah, exactly. Did not see that shit coming.
That is what?
This is like a Red Hat middleware container.
It's definitely a Red Hat container, yeah. And I'm assuming it's now. I mean, we are not. I'll be very curious, what the Java-based one looks like, because we are not a Python shop where it's first and foremost in our minds. So it's possible that in the base image they copy and pasted the user creation stuff and left the default name JBoss in there.
It'd be amazing if we went into the Java one and we recreated it and we did a who am I, and it's like Ubuntu. And you're like, come on, guys, come on, this is just no. Why are you? No, stop it. Oh, it's good. Oh, so we got Kit saying some stuff. I just noticed it. Awesome. Yes. Cool. Kitch, we believe that the funky character stuff that could also just specifically because of IBM, right? And being that it just defaulted with our username of that. Granted, to Jay's point earlier, only IBM would ever have an IAM name like that. I'm assuming other environments don't have that. If we could figure out a way to get the upstream to do some fact checking to make sure you shouldn't have your username with a hashtag and @ that should be enough to do it. Some side validation, client validation for it. To make sure we don't have to worry about that.
Or how they stored in the database is a URL encoded %73 or whatever the number. So maybe you have to
Bobby drop tables.
That in.
Yep, good old Bobby. Bobby. So yeah, it was just a little weird. And then okay, good point. So that is true. A lot of customers do use their username as IDs. But it already asks for your email address at the very bottom. I wish we could show that image again. I guess we could do that for Brian. Have you signed up for an IBM ID yet?
I'm waiting for an email address with the code.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
as soon as you
about
get
5 minutes or so to get in there.
So then, if we can get him to share his screen and maybe take a screenshot of that, because it already does ask for an email address. So a username, email address, first name, last name. And obviously if you didn't see down here in the corner, it does use Gravatar as your email, because that's how they got my little icon down here in my name. So that's cool.
If you click that up arrow, and you could, it's not the same, but you go to account, and that's the same fields.
Yes.
The same fields. Yes. Yeah. So.
And like
No,
if you
so
share
what
a
happened,
workspace,
though,
it uses that
username
email.
in OCP. Go back to the OCP terminal and look at what your username is.
That's this guy. Oh, OCP. Where the fuck did you go? Where'd you go? This guy. So this is the default user login that popped up on. God damn it! Where'd it go? This thing. This login defaulted to this guy, which caused downstream problems for us. Right?
Yes, exactly. And like the fact that I'm intrigued at how our auth handles it. The fact that it lets in that as a name. I mean, I don't know. I would call you guys minimally weird for having a # in generated usernames. But
I'd be like, I realize that I'm on the IBM stream and I shouldn't say this, but I am genuinely curious to see how our competitors would do the exact same thing on theirs, to see what their username slurps in. Oh, it's fairly common when you have multiple identity providers. Interesting. Okay.
I mean, he would probably know more than me, because this is certainly not an area of expertise for me. The @ I can see as the quantifier of like a namespacing on top of your naming, or as that sounds. The # I can't say I've ever seen before, but again, just judging off of my experience, it's not the most amazing thing in the world to go by.
Got to protect against, those weird database hijacking attempts,
Little Bobby drop tables, man.
Yep.
Exactly.
Pull that up now.
All right. Oh, and so Brian, I just added you to the account. You should now have up in the top right-hand corner a drop-down of 13 something or other to be able to.
If I reload.
Yeah, if you reload, you might need to log out and log back in.
Okay.
By the way, I just want to throw this out here too. This is that Skippy reference. When we go back to traveling around the world and stuck on airplanes, this book series is effing phenomenal. I cannot stress enough. It is funny, it is engrossing, and Skippy is basically, have you read The Martian by Adam Weir?
Yes.
Yes. So imagine the character that's in The Martian as a computer.
Oh, fun.
It is.
He was amazing. What a well-written character. The movie was surprisingly good too.
Yep.
What was it called? Columbus Day or Columbus Dry? I can't actually read the font.
Oh, Expeditionary Force. Sorry, I'll just throw in the thing real quick.
I mean, it's fine. I was looking to add it to Goodreads. I found it.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, it's called a Columbus Day Expeditionary Force. There's a bunch of the books. I've gotten through most of them, but this one alone, if it will hook you, and you will love every moment of it.
Nice. Oh my God, it's like 99 cents on Kindle. That's awesome.
All right. So we successfully now, where the hell did, okay, here we go. So we successfully I have created a workspace. Everyone else has created a workspace, yes?
Not in this.
Oh wait, yeah, not in the new one. Give me one.
Okay, go ahead and create some workspaces. Now I want to see the load also on the machine, because I'm genuinely curious. There we go. Here we go. We got this thing again.
Did you send the link?
No, I didn't. I thought you found it, so I just dropped it.
Yeah. So okay, hold on. I'm logged in, looking at cloud.ibm.com. Where do I go to get to the OpenShift or CodeReady workspaces?
Got it. Give me 2 seconds here.
Oh yeah, he's sharing it in Zoom chat.
Oh yeah, it's he joined too late, so it wouldn't have edit. There you go.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, I lied. I did create a workspace already.
Okay.
Check it out. Python 7 YODK.
So it asks me to select a linter. It gives me a list.
Shift?
So hang on. It gives me a selection of linters, and I'm like, cool story, bro. I'm gonna go ahead and do DIY doc style because that's cool. Oh, that one actually worked this time. When I did PEP8, it was like PEP8 isn't installed, even though it gave me the option to select it. Again, a little weird.
Yeah, it is a little weird.
Okay. And then, so we want to select. What? What? I want to run this. Current file.
You have the parentheses highlighted, so it's saying current. Oh no, you don't.
No, like
What's your issue? You just don't have that run anymore in your right click?
Oh, now I do. That was weird.
So it said runs. Oh no, it says run selection.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so yay, successful. Okay, so and everyone else has created one. So if we look at the actual machine now, just for shits and giggles, we're still at 43%, so that's fine. What we were worried about is no longer an issue because the right.
Yeah, and I'm sure like a solid 25% of that is the botnet I set up since I have access to creating resources.
Good man. Good man. Okay, so we're good on that. So we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Real quick, Jay, did you get your workspace started up?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna try again.
What was the error? Do you want to share your screen and show us the error that you're seeing?
Oh, I just refreshed it. It said my session had expired or something like that, so I just refreshed it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so I had in the time we were talking, I'd accidentally closed my browser, so I didn't see that. But yeah, it probably just logged you out, so you didn't walk away to get coffee and someone start hacking away at your shit.
I love security.
Okay. All right, so now I'm intrigued. My ultimate thing I want to see here, and it sounds like this is why Brian's in here, is how do I get access? What does it look like to give me access to this project?
Yeah, we should all be able to access. Like Brian, you put it inside of the channel, didn't you? Workspaces.
Hey, console workspaces
on Twitch. Yeah.
Workspaces.
So you're gonna have to know what everybody set up as their email address when they set up their CodeReady Workspaces account.
Which is fine because we all just type those
your
in.
Red Hat or IBM email. Yeah. Do we want to see that screen real quick, or it doesn't matter?
Which screen? I'm sorry.
The new user reg.
Yeah, actually, if you can show that real quick, that would be great. I want to take that screenshot, if anything, for my own sanity. So when I yell at people.
Okay.
I have no problem with being like, hey, developer, people. Oh, there it is. Perfect. Hang on, let me take one more.
I mean, I'm just going to try this and get rid of that I am thing.
Hang on, sorry, give me 2 seconds here. No, damn it, put it back.
What?
How does take a screenshot, JJ?
Well, no, it's gone now.
What's gone?
The username. That's the whole point of
Oh, you want that left? Okay, I am hash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that's all I need.
What it was.
Yeah, that's what I need to take a screenshot of. There we go. Thank you. That's what I need. I was trying to find a place to put it.
Avoiding this.
Anyway, to give myself notes about it. So I'm like, what the hell is this lady?
All right, back to you.
Awesome. All right. So share screen, desktop, share. Okay, so that's the hello world default one. And you said under share here, add developer.
Yeah.
So I want btanis@redhat.com. Oh, God, that's always nice to have a checkbox immediately done there.
Yeah. Adobe's for the email address.
redhat.com. All right, and then it was CULYBURN.
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay,
Well, sweet. And I also got my workspace to finally initialize. Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. So y'all should now have another workspace. Is that what's going on?
Now I just logged in, right? I didn't have anything. And I guess I could share my screen if we want to see it real quick.
Yeah, I see yours.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see.
Well, now I see Brian.
So,
Just went and took it off.
Yeah, I just logged in, and if I refresh the page, I saw Workspaces go up to 1, and then the dashboard also had yours that's here.
Awesome.
And I could click on that, and it should be able to open.
Go back. Oh, okay.
PC load letter.
What the fuck does that mean? God, I haven't moved that movie in forever. All right, here we go. Now the ultimate test.
Oh!
It looks like this is dynamically updating when you type.
Oh, nice. Oh, so that's actually, yeah.
Now if I run it
a ton, I'm really excited about this new job.
If I run this in a term, now interestingly though, I have my own terminal. So I'm curious if that's another container running in the pod. What's the, wait, who should show me everyone who's logged in, right?
Down at the bottom on the tabs where it shows problems, does it show multiple Python container
I only have 2.
Open?
I had a couple, but I closed my other ones.
Okay. So you don't see me running when I just ran this one in the terminal.
No. Let me hit refresh and see if it appears.
I could see this one though. Somebody typed that.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, I don't even see it in the text up top though.
Yeah, no, I just did it as normal commands in the terminal, right? So I just did an echo there. So I didn't actually run the Python app to do it. Yeah, so I see. Hello, do you see this? That's
oh shit! Now I see that.
Yeah. So this is like legit pair programming right now.
But I have a separate terminal. Like if I hit run in terminal, okay. So I hit refresh, and that's when I saw, when it came back up with one that showed me you guys typing like dynamically, like full blown Tmux looking. That's no way. That's interesting.
That's a win, right? Like granted, VS Code has like the little happy little icon of like, this is J Dobbs writing or whatever, but still real time back and forth where I can use my interface of using Dvorak on my weird keyboard and be able to type something in the screen and you all see it almost immediately. So, and Cedric hasn't said anything yet, but I'm hoping that he's seeing the same stuff too.
I am. It's just kind of trippy. It's like Google Docs. The first time I ever saw Google Docs, I was like, "What the fuck's happening?"
It's like I'm not typing this; it's just doing what I think.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, but no, it's awesome. I like it.
There might be a way to show that. I mean, given this isn't Visual Studio Code, right? But
it's pretty damn close.
There's a compatibility level to extensions and things like that. So like you might be able to get that. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. Thanks for ruining my prompt.
Shit, nice. I probably should have saved it before that.
I would love to see you were JJ. I'm confused now.
Oh, that's great.
Because I thought JJ was awesome at IBM.com.
There you go. Nice.
Yo, who wrote that?
Ghost in the Machine. All right. So this answers the whole collaboration thing with a surprising answer I was not expecting.
Yeah, I genuinely didn't too. Like I thought this was going to be a little bit more janky, but this is exactly what you would want to show off to, like you pull down your environment, you're working on a big project, you just run it and deploy it. Oh, actually, yeah. Let's deploy this app to OpenShift real quick. I mean, it's not an app, but you know what I mean. Like, how would we deploy it?
I mean, it's
like Does it
running,
create,
but I know
like,
what does the build look like is kind of what you're asking here. Like,
yeah. Because that would be the final test, right? Where if we could, like, if Mofi and I are working on a project together. By the way, he does all the work, and I just kind of sit here and yell at him. It's out of love, Mofi. It would be really cool if we could, when he finishes and needs to do a build, we click build and it would just push out the container and a new version would happen. So let's see if we can emulate that here. You know.
I think
no
that there might be. I think there might be a way. I'm not sure. Like, so how I think I've done similar before would be just the standard Git repo type model, right? I've got a webhook hooked up to OpenShift build. I set that stuff up ahead of time. Now, CodeReady Workspaces might be able to do some of it, you know, for you. I'm not sure. I'm gonna figure it out. But I think that's how I would do it. And I know that there's the Kubernetes plugin and there's an OpenShift plugin that you could enable.
OpenShift connector? Is that what
we
it's called?
should definitely do that. And I don't know if this is going to, I'm editing your workspace, so you might have to reload once it restarts, or maybe it'll kick you out, I'm not sure. So yeah, I gotta restart the workspace.
Oh, you gotta hit apply, don't you? Oh.
I did. So I hit, if I hit apply, it might,
oh yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it stopped. So you guys probably are out, right?
What happened?
Yeah, it went red. It went wrong on my side too.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's probably going in the background and pooling the OpenShift connector.
Hang on, stop. What are you guys saying? I don't see it as stopped. I'm still like manipulating stuff.
Yeah, mine's going through the little 3 dots now of like the restart or whatever.
Oh, it does appear to have hung when I said run though, or it shouldn't say hung, it didn't do anything. So maybe it is in fact restarting. Oh, there it is. Okay, my bad.
No worries.
I was surprised because I'm still in the open part of that window. It's just not reacting at all. Let me see.
Like while that's coming out, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, my screen's still being shared. So under the plugins in the configuration here, like these are the set of plugins that ship with CodeReady Workspaces. These are extensible, and you could like create your own repository somehow to maybe add other extensions or whatever. But in here, like the list of stuff that you probably would want is nice. The OpenShift ones, definitely.
Hey, there's
Python
VS Code.
If you're working with different languages.
I saw VS Code SolarLint, so we can get solarized. Because that's what all the hackers use. Priorities, right?
Too blue for me.
All right. You need to get the Vim.
There you go. There it is.
We brought Cedric up to speed of our Vim Adventures.
Hey, by the way, Brian, you didn't hear. I'm on level 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yep. It's always on the
screen. Or are you just not there and not done yet?
So I hit a point where I'm using the delete registry to pull in the T's, and I've gotten it down to I can post the T in, but I need to delete this one X, and I have two movements. I have a movement to get to the X, and I've got to delete it, and I have only 2 movements left, and I can't seem to get the cursor down to it. So I'm one too many movements right now. So, yeah. I think I just made Brian's day.
That game is like setting everybody up for Vim Golf.
It's true.
Oh my God, that's exactly what we said earlier. Is that JJ described as the natural progression off of Vim Adventures is Vim Golf.
Yep.
Yeah.
And before you know it, we all be Vim Adventures. We'll just be talking about Vim Golf every once in a while, just to start the stream to get our heads in the right spot to be able to do it. And then it'll be our weekly challenge. How about that? There we go. We choose a Vim Golf every weekend. Anyway.
The weekly challenge. I like it.
There you go. It is still going, huh? Why is it still starting?
Yeah, I'm thinking there's some issues going on. So if we look at the event log on OpenShift, unable to attach volumes, timed out.
That's not good.
Yeah. So there's some way. So like,
I wonder.
The thing is, like, all of this stuff is obviously running on the OpenShift, right? So we could go into the project in here of this is running under yours, which would be JS. There we go.
Is it
And
that
you
one?
could look
Hang on,
at
hang
like
on.
the
No,
event log
it's
and stuff.
No, it was something else.
It was something else.
Huh?
Oh fuck! What was it called?
It's under you, Python. Yeah.
No, I thought you just called like the operator was installed to.
No, that doesn't matter. So the operator is installed, right? You could look. So that is important. So like under here, there's probably like a CodeReady or whatever, and this is installed. Like this
CodeReady Workspaces is 01, JJ, up near the top.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So like in here, there's, if you look at the workloads, there's going to be like, this is where CodeReady Workspaces is running and Keycloak and stuff to do OAuth and all that craziness. But like by default, you could change this behavior, but the default behavior is pretty nice. By default, every user is getting their own unique namespace or project with their own unique PV and PVC. So they're getting their own storage and project to isolate, right? And then you could share out what you did. So that's why in here there's like one for you, and there's one for JDob. They're all in here. And since I'm cluster admin on the cluster, I could go and see everything and do what I need to do there. But I normally wouldn't have that access as a regular user.
Got it.
Brian, you missed this earlier, but that IBM, that's exactly the issue you're running into. The # in the usernames, JJ and Cedric didn't remove that when they created their user, and it was causing a problem because it would try to make a namespace with that, and that's not valid in a namespace.
Yeah, so maybe
learn it the hard way.
Very, very hard way.
Maybe this is like a thing that, I don't know, maybe this is a thing that like a pre-existing workspace was already made, and
I wonder if this is because of what we did with having multiple people attached, and I hadn't logged out, so I still had pods open.
I'm gonna try just
mostly not just ask. Are there not some username standards like postfix, RFC, pips for something that would prelude the use of weird characters? That's a very good question. There are some standardizations inside of Kubernetes specifically. It's actually an RFC for DNS names. We ran into this, I think it was yesterday, where I tried to put an underscore in a name for a namespace, and it got real angry because underscores are not accepted. You have to use dashes. But interestingly, for usernames, though, I don't think we have anything. Like, I genuinely don't think that anything exists for an RFC to say what a good username is or what it isn't. So if I was smart, I'd be Googling this right now, and I'm not smart.
I'm sure that there's probably like a set of characters that are accepted. Maybe it's all characters, I don't know, right?
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
So it's this make-dir workspace pod is causing all these problems right now, right? It's stuck in container creating. Is that what I'm seeing too?
Yeah, so under this guy, there's one because like the PV is already attached to another node and they're active pods using that. Yeah, like.
So wait, that's not good, right? So do we all need to log out of CodeReady containers?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't shared workspaces too often, and I don't know. Maybe it gets tested a ton. I'm not sure, but
seems like a pretty natural progression.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. It should be. I'm like, there is a PVC that's claimed. You've got some stuff. On the other side, I'm also trying to just create a new one that isn't shared to like prove if that's what the problem was or if that wasn't what the problem was. Wonder what mine looks like. Waiting for volume mount.
Oh, it's terminating now. The pod terminated.
By itself?
On yours, right?
Yeah. Huh.
Does
And now
like
it's gone-
my account?
It's gone into red state. So I just clicked on it. So maybe we're starting back up, or yeah, here we go. It's starting up again. Nope, hold on, it blew up. It's coming back. I think we made it really angry. We made it really angry.
Oh God.
Maybe it's my account. I'm not sure. Let's see, what does this say? Please log in again to get access. So it logged me out.
Yeah, maybe let's all log out. That's not a bad idea.
Okay.
Put it in a state where well, fucking Jay's not on here now. God damn it. So I logged out and now I'm logged back. It automatically logged me back in.
Yeah, I got the same thing. And it's still back to loading. It's not red or anything, it's just loading again.
Yeah. That's a weird UX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really want you to keep
I agree.
working.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Continue working. You're not allowed to log out.
You're like, oh shit, I'm back again.
Yeah, right?
Oh my God.
This is bonkers.
Yeah, so under here.
Oh, so that
Okay,
succeeded.
that's fine.
Oh no, it's doing container
Yeah.
creating again. No. Still
So
starting.
what's this guy waiting on?
Dude, can we see the logs? Can you break open the logs? It's
Yeah.
literally doing a change. It's doing a change mod 777 on something. Jesus.
Yeah, why is it pending?
It's got to be a PVC problem. It's got to be PVC.
I mean, I guess I don't know like what the crazy intricacies are of PVCs of what's going on. It's like you have stuff. There's no logs. Is there any details in the YAML in here?
Yeah, hold on. Go back up. Up. Where's that? Did the change mod?
There's that.
Yeah. Is it above it maybe by any chance? Like persistent volume claim attached to it? No.
Yeah, nothing
container.
special.
Volume mount. There we go. Mount path of job mount. Name to read only true mount path.
Oh, go down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I guess we could inspect this claim.
Yeah, see if it's even there.
ZQC.
Oh God.
So claims.
Hey Cedric, how about you spin up another workspace to see if your workspace shows up?
ZQC.
And then try to share it to all of us too. See if that was, we just may have hit a weirdness.
All right, give me 1 second.
Successfully. I mean, the provisioner seems like it's bound.
This could be the IOP thing that Kitch was talking about earlier. Maybe we just have, because we only have 1 gig spaces, so we have like 10 IOPS, so it's not a lot of speed. But it's still weird that this would cause this many problems. Right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe let's try that because I can't create anything. But if I do, like, there's a use ephemeral storage, temporary storage.
Okay.
So it's a little switch that won't use like the default storage class. It just uses, I guess, local stuff. Maybe that one will work. So create Python, nothing special. I'll keep the regular name. And I'm going to also try to import these plugins.
Oh yeah, before you share it to everyone, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Cedric, you remember you had to go into the share logo on your thing and add our email addresses, and then it'll pop up in our workspace.
Okay, my bad.
No worries.
So let's see. Looks like I gotta No, this is the other one that has a PVC. Like, I think the thing with me too is like whenever I'm using this, like I don't necessarily need a legit, PV. I don't need a persistent volume because I'm probably going to be working off code that's in Git anyways, and that's where my storage for the file is. I guess that's probably why that box is there, so it's easy to switch to ephemeral storage quickly. But I guess let's see if it works. It looks like it's getting farther than it got before.
It's always a plus.
I think, yeah. I'm gonna delete the other workspace while this is going because that one did not work.
So I have another one spun up, but it's not sending out emails to the members that I add to it. Let me try again.
All right. Oh, shit. That's not good. Mine broke. Mine's very upset. Oh, God. I clicked. What? I really broke it now.
What's not working right?
Everything, it seems. Certificate error. You may have been using a self-signed search. What'd you do?
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah.
I guess my work here is done. This job is not for me.
Let's try this again. Come on. OpenShift console. We're up to 50% usage now, by the way. Ooh, we've got one pod in not happy state. That's fun.
Oh, there we go. Mine finally came up.
Mine just stopped.
It looks like. Cool. Okay. So some weirdness with storage right now, I guess. I don't know. But let me share that with you guys now, I guess. I wonder if I could just copy. I mean, it's probably easier just to type it out myself, but.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Oh, whoops.
I've lost the link. Oh, here it is. No, it's not. What the fuck? Do I dare click my other workspace to spin it up?
Well, do you have access to mine? Because mine seems like it's working. It shows ephemeral or the temporary storage.
Yes. Looks like it just showed up for me.
Cool. So you guys should have access to that now. Not to break everything, but you know, whatever.
What did you say? You shared out a workspace for us?
Yeah.
Oh, it says ephemeral mode at the bottom. Interesting.
Yeah. Weird IBM Cloud OpenShift storage with CodeReady workspaces. All that stuff's going a little weird right now, but ephemeral works. And like I said, like normally you're probably going to be working in a Git repo or whatever. Maybe you're not, but you know, normally I think you would, and you'd be pushing that way or whatever.
Well, we
And
haven't
that's
actually
where your
seen
storage would be anyways.
pushing something into a Git repo yet.
Does feel a lot smoother.
What was the? What'd you say?
Sorry,
Like,
I was kind of muttering to myself that this does feel a lot smoother on this workspace with the ephemeral storage.
this got to be the Kitch thing saying the IAPS problem then, right?
He was definitely right. He saw so much of this coming.
He really did, didn't he? So I just had run happen 3 times. Is that someone?
Yeah, I'm clicking over on the right side.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's me. So if you look in the little cube on the right, I pulled that out and I was clicking the buttons there, trying to figure out what they did.
Okay.
New terminal creates a terminal. Good talk, guys.
Yeah.
This is my contribution.
So side little bar, you have access. If like this was something that is Python and Node.js or whatever, and you have that all, you could have that all both in a workspace. Just check the box or whatever to do that. Just like I added the OpenShift thing, and then you would have that Python console, so you could do run and all that stuff from there. And these over here are also customizable.
Wait, so when you
from what
clicked
I
on
understand.
run, nothing happened on your screen when you clicked run, but it showed up on my screen.
Oh yeah, because I don't have the. Is it because I don't have the Python container open? Maybe.
No, it just showed up a bunch more runs on mine.
Yeah,
I'm seeing them on mine
maybe.
too. You are already logged. Okay, never mind. That was a different thing I clicked.
That was me.
Which one is it?
There's a shortcut link to the VS Code OpenShift tools GitHub repository. It goes straight into issues. That feels kind of handy.
I don't know where. Yeah, before I had access to the terminal, then I could see you guys.
When I hit refresh, random terminals come back, and that's how I refound the one.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, but like it's weird because the ones I closed are reappearing, and I can't figure out. I think these are all just terminals into a single pod.
Yeah. That's what it smells like.
Yeah, I mean they are. So like that's how this is working, right? They're like creating a new terminal exec or whatever. So like you should probably, I guess, be able to look into it this way. You go to pods and you have to figure out which pod or which container is running, which it probably is the Python one.
Actually, wait, where are you in Workspace? Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh no. I have to go into pods, go to terminal.
I literally just typed in it as well. Yeah, I'm still JBoss
so
too.
No, never mind.
Well, wait, stay where you are. Stay where you are.
Okay.
Do an ls. Oh shit, that's weird.
Yeah, no. So we did get it somehow. I don't know how we got it though. Think about that.
What? Do I need to select it? Oh, stupid.
So, JJ, I just got a pop up on my workspace. No, so I'm in the shared workspace, Brian's workspace, but I got a pop up in my browser window. Plugin runtime crashed unexpectedly. All plugins are not working. Please reload the page. Probably there is not enough memory for the plugins. If it doesn't help, please check the server logs.
So are we out of space?
The total memory usage is 50%, 52% with 0 free. What? Are we just all on one like worker node? God, that'd be so dumb. I don't fully understand what's going on. Hang on. Yeah, this is not helpful at all. Not helpful at all. By the way, you have to select the stack to make sure you pull down the correct container. So, like, you don't want to pull down a Python app with the Java container, for instance, as I just discovered I did.
Yeah, you're saying when you create a workspace.
I mean, that's an interesting question in and of itself, is if it runs a little smoother in Java, because like I said, I suspect our testing is a lot more based on this EAP Maven one. Do that one instead. Who's sharing? Brian? Do this Java EAP Maven and then do the kitchen sink example and see what happens.
So EAP Maven.
Yeah, and then at the bottom, yeah, leave that check, this kitchen sink. And then the temporary storage, I wasn't paying attention before. That's how you do the ephemeral.
Yeah.
Which seems to be the best way to do it right now for us.
Like, there should be failed to start. I'm not allowed to start.
I ran into this too. We can only default out of box is only a single workspace per.
It's 2. It seems 2 is working, at least for me.
So I could delete. Oh no!
Interesting.
No.
The container that gets pulled down is MS Python to run Python.
Go ahead. Wait, that runs as the JBoss user, clearly.
Yeah. Where's MS Python? The hell is that?
I don't want to delete that one because you guys are using it, I think, right?
I just hopped out of it, but you can stop it and not delete it.
Oh, I think it's just a visual code plugin for Python.
Oh, Brian, I'm an idiot. Before, when I had you do an LS, I was in my project, not yours.
That might be it. Or that might be part of it. Yeah, so I'm kind of like, I've heard before, but I don't know like the official real details of how this works, but the add-ons are somehow a sidecar to the container that's there. So whenever you create an extension or or enable an extension, it's creating a container that's a sidecar that's running in the same pod, I think.
No, I think you're right. There is something to that.
Which I guess I turned that one down, so I can't see it. But this one, maybe. So in the containers, we could see that we've got Maven as a container, VS Code, Java 7. Yeah.
You
So
see,
these are
the one I'm looking
things-
at right now, my project has, instead of Maven, has Python, and then I have a VS Code Python letters, QHN, and then Thea and Shay Machine Ready.
Yeah. Yeah, so yours is, you know, you have that, you have the Python thing enabled or whatever. That's a part of the work.
It's a Python-based workspace.
Yeah.
So y'all should all now have another workspace that I created that should be the Python Flask app that we play with.
Now, when you created this, you handed it to Git repo at creation time?
Mm-hmm. Not through GitHub, not through the GitHub org thing, but I get checked out. What was it? So you should be able to see it now.
This is the MU89?
Yes. Yes, MU89.
Now, have you run this yet? Because I'm curious if you had to explicitly run pip install on the requirements or if it understood to do that.
No, I just literally just got it plugged in right now.
Okay.
So
presumably if you run app, it's going to fail because we don't have Flask.
Oh, I was going to wait for Brian to get there because I mean he's sharing the screen.
Oh, you want me to? Okay. Sorry, I'm just clicking around. I was gonna try running it. Okay, so there's this Python example open.
Should probably install pylinter.
I just should do that show again.
Okay, so now what? We need to do run. No, it still doesn't.
I got hello world.
Yeah, run is just opening a particular terminal that they've labeled as run. How did you get hello world? Did you a pip install in your own?
No. And it should have actually given me hello world, which is kind of weird.
Because Brian, but I went to app and then I right clicked on it and said run.
Wait, so what? Where do you app PY?
No, sorry. So you have app py open in the editor, and I right clicked in the file itself, and then this is going to raise the snare saying I can't import Flask, which is expected. It's in the requirements, but we never told it to install the requirements.
So how do we install the requirements?
Well, that's the interesting part. There's the right way and there's the effective way. I don't know if there's a right way, but you can just type pip install. I did this in my own project. I just typed pip install numpy and then imported it and it looked fine. So if you do a pip install -r requirements.txt, it should pull down all of that stuff. And where I think that stuff lives is going to be the container named Python in this pod for this workspace.
And it's called OC Python Flask, which I'm going to change that name eventually.
Oh, sorry, wrong folder.
Turns out this is becoming a really, really good toy app to show things off, slowly but surely.
Okay,
yeah,
so
now view start app again.
Which this is just going to do the same thing, Python run.
Ooh, I have that message too. A new process is listening, but it's not exposed in the workspace as a server.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it. Ooh, open it.
Open link. App isn't available.
Port 5000 though.
No, the link should.
It is available. It'll just take a second. It had to reconcile, I guess.
It takes a second for the internal DNS to catch up.
Holy crap, that's awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah, pass through all the way through, so you could do some editing and do some cool stuff here, right? That's cool.
So change hello world to goodbye world. I don't think you should need to bounce it. No, you probably still need to restart.
It's actually on the legit internet too. Like I'll do it just because I live dangerously. I just put it in the chat. That link works for anybody.
Yeah, that's just the Flask thing. We don't have debug mode on, so I think you are gonna have to restart the server.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing Control C and then.
Up arrow.
Up arrow. Yeah, that's exactly. I didn't say it out loud, but I was wondering that too. Will the up arrow actually recognize it? Okay, this is fine. Give it a second.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like if you were using ODO, this would probably work, right? Kind of Python compatibility or whatever.
Okay, so I see the M on here, presumably, and the tree on the left, presumably meaning changed, modified. Can we try to push this to Git, even though we know it's going to fail? Or can we at least see a menu item that says, hey, this needs to get pushed to Git?
Yeah, that's the branchy thing. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So just
gonna have
like
to-
VS Code.
Changes.
Yeah.
I see.
It
I've
will
never actually used
ask
Git
me
through VS
to
Code.
log in. So if I just do goodbye, commit it, that's fine. But then try to push, and it's gonna try to push to
it's
the
asking you for a
repo it was
login
pulled
prompt, yeah.
from, which I don't have access to. This would have to be JJ that pushes it.
Well, then I'll just make you a collaborator real quick. Hang on. Let me see
Yeah,
that.
or you could do that.
Yeah, but then you gotta log into GitHub through here, which means that two-factor authentication is gonna come up and be annoying.
No, it should be
Yeah.
smart enough to figure that out. Pretty sure.
You have to, so to do that, which let me pull up the page, is a GitHub thing. I don't think that anything weird would show up, but to get that, you have to go into your settings and go to like your developer settings, I think, and create a person. Yeah, okay. So on Git, let's see, let me put it down here.
Yeah, you're gonna have to like accept my invite also, by the way.
So yeah, we have, so to log in Visual Studio Code or Eclipse Che or CodeReady Workspaces, you have two-factor turned on. You have to create a personal access token to get around the two-factor, because it doesn't do OAuth as a way to log in. So
interesting.
You could probably have a way to import an SSH key. I'm not sure. I don't know, but this way works fine, right? You just go in here, generate a new token.
I've never done this.
And log in and come on. So if we log in,
steal his password.
No, thank you.
It's easy enough. It's just a whole bunch of dots.
So
How hard
this
is that?
is COW.
Hunter 2.
Dumbass.
God, that isn't it. That would be awesome. User 01 or no 1 2 3 4 exclamation mark. Right.
Nice.
Yeah. So okay, I need to scroll down, but generate token. Oh, CRW IBM, and there is a token, and that's great. Go away. Okay, so I didn't type a password, so that's not going to work. Escape to cancel.
Oh, because I didn't use the GitHub plugin.
Yeah.
I just did git clone down. Oh.
It's the HTTPS one, right? Isn't that initially going to fail?
Yeah. So where do we change that stuff? Where's the git config?
Oh, well, if you gave me access,
is there a git directory?
I could do it.
Yeah, if there's a git directory, we should really make this fixed. Should fix this for you. There's a git ignore.
Oh yeah, I could do git remote -v and everything from that command line. That is a full blown ass command line.
Okay. So vi.git config.
Come on. So it worked. I logged in. It's okay. It should be pushed now. Did it?
Yes. And you logged in as me?
Cool.
Go to hang on. No, check this out. This is weird. We did something wrong. Where the fuck did Zoom go? God damn it, Zoom.
So this is good. So we can write code and check it in as JJ and then deploy it to IBM Cloud with our new resources ability and be completely scot-free.
Pretty much. Click on that link for me real quick. This is bonkers. Like who it came up in as.
What? Where? Oh, it's
In Zoom. Yeah. See?
Whoa.
Yeah,
Oh.
That's dope.
So is it into it though? Is it just because
is that a get? It's a git config setting.
Yep.
Because
which was
I guarantee you, if I
from-
do like git, what is it? Git config. What is it? User dot name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There it is.
So because this is a shared project, it's, I guess.
Yeah.
And you're the one who checked it out, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it uses your auth, which is kind of fascinating. But I guess that goes in the commit message. So.
And I made him a collaborator, so he has push rights. So it's just that. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, I'm totally impersonating you for everything now.
Hey.
I don't know for what, but
yeah, if you do a git log, sure enough, author looks slightly different, and it comes from awesome.ibm, not your Gmail like the rest of these commits have. But
yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, we can be nefarious by doing commits as other people now.
Yeah, right. Good to know. So this has been extremely fascinating that we got this deployed. We did and the funny part is this is all a really ghetto version of sharing, because even though we got this working where we all log into the same workspace, I don't know that I'd ever want to use that. Because this is an unseen circumstance here that all the commits still come from one person. So yeah, we do kind of share out the workspace, but it's, a bit wonky. Nice for the occasional pair programming type of thing, but it's certainly not. And no one was trying to say this was going to be a replacement for a Git workflow, but this is definitely not a replacement for a Git workflow. That's for sure.
Well, this is sitting down being like, hey, I need help. To your point, I need a pair program on a workspace of doing something you're doing. And then you can do a co-authored by line, right? If you really care about this stuff. Inside of the Git commit message to make sure that both people have like in essence is best practices, right? To have a co-author saying that the person did this change while they were pairing with me, and then you push it up and then you stop sharing it or whatever.
Yeah.
So
like, I think the pair programming aspect is pretty much the reason why you would want to use this. Like, if multiple people are working on the same code base and we're both editing files or whatever, like, we might be doing that asynchronously, and we're going to be pushing and pulling stuff with our own Git logins and all of that, I think. But if, like, exactly what you said, JJ, if there was an issue, we could go ahead and like, hey, here, look at my workspace. Let me share it with you. See what I'm not doing right. And then I join and be like, hell yeah, you forgot that semicolon on line 7 because
exactly.
Blind. You know what I mean? Like, but that's the reason. I think
you're right. I think it was really fascinating, though. It also means that I'm not going to try to tell a story of multiple users in a talk or something like that. Like, it's just not a model I want to be promoting. But that was an end game, and I'll let you speak in a second, JJ. That was like an end game to this whole stream for me, was figuring out what of this turns into a talk topic. Like, was there a compelling argument to say, let's co-author something together and get the two of us on stage and co-edit something? And I'm not saying there's never a reason to, but it's not quite, that's never going to be a preferred practice.
I'm going on the opposite side of that statement, where I think this is actually enough to say that we could start talking about co-authoring, and when travel restrictions disappear and we can start traveling again, I think this is a iterative change to that narrative that you're looking for, right? This is not, we haven't bought the car yet, but we're test driving the car, right? And we're like, yeah, okay, cool, we can actually do what we want, but it's not quite ready to be in my garage, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So All right, gentlemen. Well, we literally just hit the 3-hour mark. I know I'm ready to start my weekend.
Me too. But goddamn, what a successful stream, though, man. What a way to end that.
Absolutely. I feel real good. And Cedric, do you feel like you learned something, sir?
I feel like I learned so many things that I won't have a weekend because I'll just be on Google and shit.
Nice.
But yeah, no, I think it all linked back to me together when we were actually able to integrate it with GitHub.
Nice.
And that was like the full circle for me. And I was like, okay, this is how I can actually use it for some of my projects, you know?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. Like normal, we usually sit around for a couple minutes after the stream, just because there's the lag to do it. But I genuinely wanted GTFO, so I'm going to go ahead and end the stream now. And GTFO, and we'll see you guys next week.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Take
Good
care.
stuff, guys.
Ciao.